I forgot to add us to the stream, but there we go.
Oops.
We're here.
Here we are.
We're live,
Uncle Mo,
pal.
while you eat.
We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Pro Wrestling Simulated. I'm Mike, that's Pat, and we are back for another episode of the 500. This is episode 23.
23.
Wow.
We are almost done with round one.
We're a quarter of the way through episodes of an unprecedented amount, because I don't know actually how many are going to end up being in this whole thing.
We're actually probably closer to halfway than we are to... We're doing 10 or 11 matches per show, and there's 499 matches. That's,
I mean, you do the math, and it spells disaster.
That's right. Usually when you enter a tournament, you got a 1 in 8 chance. But in 500,
all right.
there are 500 of you. And 224 have already been eliminated.
That's insane.
We've done a lot of matches, Mike.
We've done a lot of matches. We've done so many matches. Like, sometimes it's just... Now it starts to, like, click into... Like, yes, of course I understand why Vince McMahon can forget... Well, other than the fact that he's, like, pushing 80. But can forget, like, everything that happens.
Massive head trauma.
Yeah, that too. So maybe I don't know everything about it is what it's like to be like him, but I can understand why he forgets things that just randomly happen in his show. Because then again, that's kind of what the whole bag is for WWE in general. Just things happen.
Things happen.
Next
week, more things will happen.
More things will happen. I remember somebody saying, like, WWE, watching Raw and SmackDown is like watching The Muppet Show. You have a bunch of people who are together, who are all very talented, but have not made one plan as to what the show is actually going to be, and by the time it airs, they just hope for the best.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly it, yeah.
So...
Yeah, they maybe have 1 or 2 things planned. Okay, we're going to have Elton John on this episode, but that's about the extent of the planning. They gotta hope that somebody gets in an argument and sets up a main event.
And now Madcap Moss is basically Fozzy. So
yeah,
it's only getting there, more and more.
There's a Waka 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 with Elias joke there somewhere. And I'm just not.
No, he doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, his younger brother Ezekiel.
His younger brother Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Who, listen, I won't lie. When I saw the guy come down shaved and, like, short-haired, I was like, who's the new guy?
Yeah.
Like, for a brief second, I was like, oh, okay, wait, that is Elias. All right. Like, that is amazing how... I thought they were going to do that with... you remember Nick Dinsmore way back in the day?
Eugene, yeah.
Like, I thought, like, if they had let him, like, clean himself up and, like, gave him time to just kind of, like, maybe do some conditioning, he would come back as, like, Nick Dinsmore. And everyone would be, like, probably fooled into thinking it was a completely different person or someone related to him.
Yeah.
Because he did have, like, this transformative ability.
He was excellent in the ring. He had some really good matches in OVW.
Yes, he carried that promotion for a long time. He was like their Tommy Dreamer for a while.
Yeah, he and Rob Conway were
they were the guys. They were the Lords of the Ring.
Lords of the Ring, yeah.
Great tag team name. Speaking of Lords of the Ring, Lord William Regal, I believe, just added a brand new member to the Blackpool Combat Club. And I think the world saw a star be born on Friday night. Holy cow! I have now watched that match 3 times. I've watched it again this morning. Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley. If you have not seen it from this past Rampage on Friday, what are you doing? Why are you even here? Don't we'll wait. No, I mean we won't. But still, like, wow.
Oh, man, what a week!
What a week for him.
Coming off wins the win over Josh Woods last week. And,
wins the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. He kind of, and I was telling you all this, this spot was earned. This whole, like, from, the crowd swelling up behind him was earned. And it all came from just like, maybe Trent is right. Maybe he does owe him, because if Trent didn't get injured, Wheeler Yuta wouldn't have been brought in and become the new star.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. I love that, though. I love when things just kind of like organically work out that way. But man, what a story.
And I love it even more when a company realizes that's happening and capitalizes on it.
Yeah. The match with Bryan, when he was just, getting the hell beat out of him. And I thought, okay, Wheeler Yuta, like, I'm not sure how hip how hip the crowd is to him and his like ability, but they were behind him, because at one point it was really quickly going like Yuta. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He needs that. Give him more of that. And then the whole like walking away and then going back and looking for that handshake. I'm like, yes, okay. So we are going to be talking about his name wasn't just dropped in a promo for nothing.
Right.
Like, they really are. They saw something with him, and they were like, okay, this is the first guy we're gonna like take under our wing. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, is this gonna be a trio, or will they try to add Lee Moriarty? How is will a person be earning their spot in there again, or is it going to be kind of just like, we've got our guy now? Like, I've got my two favorite boys. I've got the guy who I always wanted to be, and the guy who I know I can be if I go down that path again.
Right.
And then this one, who we can all turn into the perfect, like he's a fresh mold of clay. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, there's a... And by the way, Regal on commentary on Friday was amazing. And he had so many good moments where, well, first of all, I always love that he addresses Excalibur as, "Hello, man in the mask." And then he actually like took a moment, stepped back, and was like, "Mr. Starks, what do you think about this whole deal?" Like, he actually asked Ricky Starks, who could have just been the interjecting heel. Like, he wanted his opinion about the whole thing. And I'm like, all right, well, now we know Regal's other role that he can do. If for any reason like managing doesn't want, if he wants to commentate, go, please. Put it back on. Like, that's just the guy has shown since he's shown up how invaluable he is as a resource. And I love that, and I can't wait to see what else that has for him in the future.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, his, for all intents and purposes, his in-ring career is over.
Yeah.
But he still adds so much to that roster just from a mentorship. And not just on screen, but just, you imagine being in that locker room and being able to pick William Regal's brain about wrestling. He has seen everything. He has done everything.
I will always remember, though, the Performance Center like documentary they had. What was it, Breaking Ground or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Yeah,
it's just there's this moment where I forget who he's yelling at, but he's just like, "You have to lead with your left foot." Like, he was so adamant about, and I joke about it, but I'm like, no, he's saying that for a reason, because he knows what the most minute form of footing on a ring can make in terms of like looking like you're wrestling and not looking like you're wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
So, that just I'm all in on William Regal being the best, probably the best. As much as I love seeing Samoa Joe wrestle and I love seeing like all these guys great, William Regal might be the best signing they have made in a long-term capacity.
Yeah.
There's just the amount of, just as a resource in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but there's been a lot of discussion of like the new pillars in AEW. Of Yuta, Moriarty, Garcia, and Ricky Starks. Like, It's hard to argue with that.
I would not argue with that. Now, there in itself becomes... Oh, God. I'm already imagining... Oh, God. It's right there, and I didn't see it. BCC versus... Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah.
JAS and BCC. I mean, you've got literally the war that we all want to see in wrestling, which is the wrestlers taking down the sports entertainers, where it's like it doesn't matter now who's on whose side because everyone is talented in both sides, and having like a war of words between Regal and Jericho for a few like moments will be. I just want to hear Colin Sunshine and just tear him down. But man,
and because all of wrestling is canon in AEW, they could even go all the way back to the Jericho peeing in his tea angle from
That's true.
Mania. Was that X7 that they had that match?
All I know is that I was recently taking a trivia a quiz on the dumbest reasons people had matches, and I think that was one of them, as well as why Edge and Booker T fought.
And Edge,
this is for Japanese shampoo. And then somebody had like a sign in the very front row that said Edge is cheap. Pretty blatant too. You can sneak some stuff in, but I didn't think you could be able to sneak that in the front row of Toronto.
There were just so many of them.
But we have got some great matches for you today. We've Darby Allin and Kaya McKenna is going to be heading off our show today. But we also got El Hijo de Vikingo. We've got appearances by Kofi Kingston. We've got Brian Cage. He's a machine.
He is.
Penta Oscuro. Calvin Tankman, who I am loving more and more every time I watch him. And our main event, oh man, my boy, the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii! I love watching that man just murder people. But there's so many great matches, but we can start with the saddest man in wrestling. No, I joke. Darby Allin taking on Kaya McKenna.
Yes, indeed. Kaya McKenna.
As the emo music begins to play. I gotta say, for a theme that is very low-key and very, literal low-key, when it hits, people pop.
They do. They do. So here's Kaya McKenna, a rookie. I mean, she's maybe a year and a half, 2 years in the business, trained by Seth Rollins and Marek Brave at the Black Brave Academy. She does a lot of, mostly during the evaluation period, she did a lot of stuff for Camp Leapfrog, including winning their Monster Battle Royal. And she also participated in their Christmas Trios tournament alongside Erica Lee, who we saw earlier in the tournament, and The Crusher. They called themselves Degeneration Hex, but were eliminated in the first round, unfortunately.
Anytime I hear Crusher, I think of the Bugs Bunny cartoon. This corner, that Crusher! Now, Darby's face paint, as amazing as it is magic.
Yeah, it's... Didn't your hump used to be on the other side? What hump?
What hump?
So it looks like Darby's entire face is painted. It's not.
I mean, he's done it before, so it's alright.
He has, yeah. But
I will say, the model does look pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember who made this one. I'll need to do like a full-on credits on Twitter once the first round is over and we've seen all but 12 of our participants. Or maybe I'll just wait till round 2 is over and we've seen all 500. I don't know.
That's true.
The world is my oyster. I've never understood that expression.
I don't either. I know. I hate oysters.
Does that just mean there's a pearl waiting for me?
I guess so.
Is that I guess
that's, you know what? I think you cracked it.
there.
Oh, I didn't even mean that. Like that was an unintended pun. That's I feel terrible because like my puns are meant to be on purpose. Like I'm a dad. I have a role in society where it's
true.
I know my role in comedy. It's
our official for this match, making his PWS debut, is Glate's Yoshinori Umeki.
We've got Glate talent.
We've got Glate referees now. We're actually going to see 2 tonight. We're also going to see one from Seedling and one from Oz Academy, who will be a bit of a familiar face, but I'm not going to spoil that until we get to that match. It is a retired former wrestler who... I'll explain more when we get to it.
I love watching Darby Allin fight. I love seeing him get, like, literally throw himself out of the ring like a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I love even more is watching how well he is stretched into submission. The way that people are able to bend him backwards.
He's very much... He reminds me a lot of Rob Van Dam in that regard.
Yeah.
In the way that you can just, there's no position you can't bend his body into.
That's why he took
a tendon strength thing or a double jointed thing.
I mean, he's a string bean, but like he's flexible as hell.
Yeah,
and that's why I feel like when Miro put the game over on Darby, it was like truly that was like, oh, there's no way that anyone, because it wasn't just he went all the way back, just all the way back, bent him in half, and then folded him backwards. But we were talking about earlier, I think earlier this week, about Samoa Joe doing the no sell walk away spot, walk away, which is one of my favorites, and I'm glad I'm hoping to see it again. But you and I both had the first thought: Darby Allin doing the coffin drop, and him just walking away, which will suck for Darby.
Oh yeah,
because it's just a flat bump, flat back bump from a very big
he's
height.
Also taken it.
He's been thrown off stairs. The man has been thrown off stairs.
That's true. But he also landed on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring.
At least we are led to believe.
Yeah.
Now, I think, like, structurally, yes, because of a stress point and the fact that it's built from there, it's obviously doesn't have any give, so it is definitely,
Yeah, it probably does hurt.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It's... I think the hardest part of the ring is probably any metal part that's in there.
I mean, ask Cash Wheeler.
Yeah. Oh, God. And those are square ring posts. There's so many things that they love to remind us that I just don't understand why.
They've got so many corners. You could say there's 4.
Some may say. Not all, but some.
It's been a pretty good back and forth match so far.
I think it's definitely due to the fact that they're very similar in build.
That's probably part of it, yeah. Kaya's actually got an inch on him. She's 5 pounds lighter. But, yeah, they are very similar. 5'8", 5'9", 165, 170. What's Darby doing? Oh, Darby's going for the spot that makes no sense.
Oh, unless...
Destino.
The only time
that spot... drop.
The only time the spot makes sense is when,
1, 2... Kaya kicks out of the coffin drop.
I think that was more just a back elbow, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although I'll be honest, I don't know.
I don't think that they. Yeah, there is no version of the move.
2.9.
Whoa.
Kaya McKenna, the number 499 seed, in there with number 14 Darby Allin. Darby, the highest seed left that we haven't seen yet in the first round. Of course, there's the 12 that got first round buys.
Right.
Darby, if Kaya wins this, it will be the biggest upset of the tournament.
Wow.
Surpassing Antonio Honda, number 496, beating number 17, Ultimo Guerrero, way back in, gosh, what was that, episode 3?
Anything can happen in this world.
It was episode 3.
feels like ages ago.
It was more than 20 weeks ago.
Yes, that's for sure.
Oh man, he keeps hitting her with that sort of
Slumdog Millionaire too. Stun Dog Millionaire, yeah, that's the word.
Uh-oh. They be clubbering, Tony.
Strong spirit prevails. The strong style spirit prevails in the world of Pro Wrestling Simulated. Now, I don't know if necessarily, hopefully this has been updated. I think that the post that I saw was from February, but apparently Fire Pro Wrestling's network is going to, like, just close.
Oh, they just released a patch.
Okay.
Like a month ago to keep that open.
I was going to say, I hope not. we have a whole show.
Potentially disastrous for
I mean, it's yeah, the thing is, I can't, as I have, Fire Pro on my computer, and the Steam version is great, by the way, if anyone uses it, but you can't download wrestlers onto it from what I've been able to figure out. It seems like it's only a PlayStation Network situation. If there's a workaround, I'm sure we will find it, and then I will be the one who has a ton of wrestlers on his hard drive. Oh!
Maybe when we get around to our tag team tournament, you can have...
That may be the case. I think after round 1, we're going to have a bit of a freshen up of our look, because I've been tooling around with some stuff on OBS, and I love StreamYard. It's great, just for the, everything's pretty much instant.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we have the sound of the ring, like, all the time, so Pat and I keep working back and forth with different tech stuff. I'm not sure why he keeps doing an homage to Sabu.
Yeah, me either.
But
not mad at it.
Not mad at it, yeah. Respect.
Off the ropes. Big clothesline.
I've seen Sabu eat it live, in person. I went to Hardcore Homecoming, the very first one.
Oh, wow.
Which was an amazing show. It very much had that ECW vibe.
Falcon Arrow.
Man, Sabu.
Nobody gets out of it, but she pulled him up anyway.
You look at Sabu and you're just like, how are you alive? How are you alive, man?
He's pretty much held together by scar tissue at this point.
And at one point, literally duct tape.
That's right. Ooh, that was a rough match to watch.
That was.
That was the barbed wire massacre with Terry Funk, right?
Yep.
Where he snags his bicep on the
duct tapes it shut.
Uh-huh. Yep.
He's hardcore.
Was that the same match where he dislocated his jaw?
I think so.
Because he hit a table wrong. Like he hit the legs of the table with his face. And they had, because they also duct taped his head together to keep his jaw closed. Yeah. Rings of Saturn. Darby makes it to the ropes. Closing in on the 20-minute mark here.
The thing is with cruiserweight, style wrestlers or body types.
Oh my God!
Holy crap! Never mind anything I said. Apparently,
Frankensteiner to the concrete.
Somebody just watched Kenny versus Coda and decided, yeah, I could do that.
Oh God!
Just full Frankensteiner out to the outside. No regard for their own safety. I was just saying the endurance factor is coming into play with the two body types like this.
Drop toe hold from Darby. Darby getting a little frustrated there. Off the ropes. Snaps off a Rana. Uh-oh. Code red. 1, 2, 3. That did it. Darby Allin, the number 14 seed, survives a big scare from Kaya McKenna. The Good Witch pushed him past the 20-minute mark.
Close, but no cigar. But then again, cigars aren't good for you, so just...
Yeah. So it's probably
I mean, if it's a choice, whatever. But they're really, really worse than cigarettes. It's like, I would love to smoke, but I want like 3 of them just at once.
I don't have time to go through.
I don't have time for an entire pack of cigarettes. I'm just going to smoke all of them, but in one roll. Winner, Darby Allin.
What is the most efficient way for me to get lung cancer?
Yeah. Sorry, I got lost because something came up on my Twitter feed. So, Adam Scher, formerly Braun Strowman,
who we'll see in action next week,
was Sean Ross Sapp retweeted this from Wrestle Cringe.
Oh no.
He's just talking about, like, hey, do what makes you happy as long as you aren't taking away someone else's happiness. I want everyone to just live their life how they want and be happy. To which Happy Corbin, legit Happy Corbin, who's also his title is, not only is it, I don't know if it's necessarily the actual Happy Corbin, but their picture is of Cody. And their name is Anti-AEW Bot number 443.
Okay.
Which, Tony Khan, just sometimes you don't have to say everything that's on your mind.
We've all suspected it's true.
You could just...
But you don't need to say it.
You don't have to tell everyone and give people fodder to go after you. Anyway, someone, they replied, CYN is so based. Thank you, Adam Scher. To which Adam Scher, not understanding that based is good, means I did not know this in the internet lexicon. But Adam Scher replied, yeah, I based on your mom's back last night. Of which the guy went, bro, it was a compliment!
Jeez.
Yeah. So, you gotta love when they think... It's like...
It's like they know that everything about themselves is insane and cringeworthy and worthy of mockery, so they assume that any interaction
is going to be
mockery.
Yeah, is an attack.
Yeah, it's just kind of delightful that.
Oh God!
They're so close to self-awareness.
Very. It's the self-aware wolves on Reddit that I see sometimes where it's people like post, you're saying the dumbest thing, and then like a minute later they'll like, I think it was somebody who was like, alright folks, we can take away Disney's power if we all cancel our subscription and make sure that they don't get a chance to dictate the way things are done. And then a minute later, cancel culture is wrong. Like,
yep.
You're using the same word!
Yep.
You're using the same word!
So, yeah, that's all.
Anyway, Darby Allin defeats Kaya McKenna.
Mike and I can go into deep depth about Disney. But let's not.
I would if the next time I talk about Disney and wrestling, it's going to be when WCW almost permanently stayed there.
Almost, yeah.
How that would have been very interesting.
That would have been very different.
I would have gone to there every year to watch an episode of Nitro. Are you kidding me? Although, logistically, it's got to be terrifying to put an entire wrestling show in the front entrance of your park.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that was the plan. But hey, speaking of based, is there a more wholesome story on the internet right now than the redemption of Buff Bagwell?
Wow. Like, good.
Saw that
first of all, it's so pure and so innocent that the guy is just like, he has been through it. He has been through it. And I mean, granted, he could say one stupid thing tomorrow.
Sure.
And I just was happy to see, like, okay, good. He isn't a total idiot. He actually has, like, calm and decent. And the thing is, he was so surprised about how his pro LGBTQ plus comments got received. And I'm like, you don't understand, man. We kind of need, like, this world needs people who, like, look like you and talk and act like you to be in that position of I'm on their side too. Because you are the model of you look like the person that everyone hates and thinks has hateful thoughts.
Yeah. And you played that character.
You played a terrible, terrible character.
Like, Buff Daddy is not for the people the way that Marcus Bagwell is.
Right. I'm glad he's turned his life around too. There were times where I was like, he was unfortunately a part of a list of people that I was like, are they still around? Like, I didn't even know. Like, there are some points where I still have to wonder, like, how many WCW wrestlers are still alive.
Yeah, it's fewer by the day. But,
now, the thing is, I think Buff Bagwell's just fun. I don't think he's fantastic at, wrestling for anything, but it's like I was always just a fan of the idea of Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, as a performer, he was very fun.
Certainly not put him in the main event to pitch WCW as its own show for WWE.
No. You only do that if you're trying to sabotage the entire promotion.
Yeah.
Inject it with a lethal dose of poison.
Or Buff Bagwell.
Dude, I mean,
Booker T in the main event. That makes sense, because he was a main eventer. He was the champion. If they had done, like, that's always the thing. It's like, people had said, it's like, if they had signed Steiner, Hogan, Hall, Nash, DDP. Goldberg, DDP, if you signed, like, basically, it's funny how the WCW guys are very much the WWF guys of the 90s, where it's like, save for Hogan, Sting, and Goldberg, Sting, and DDP, who were WCW.
Yeah.
Like, all the other people are just ex-WWF icons.
Yeah. Yeah, by the end, anyway.
Such a weird turning point.
Because WWF had already signed away all the other WCW guys, Jericho and the Giant and Benoit and guys like that.
It's just weird how history, like, how that invasion could have been so much better if they had just worried about the main eventers.
Mm-hmm.
If, like, I am certainly not a person to say, like, just fire, but, like, you bought the company, you're probably, like, again, that's more of a Vince ego thing of, oh, they want WCW? I'll give them WCW. Technically. I'm technically giving you WCW. You can't say I'm not.
That's right.
Like,
this is what you wanted.
No. What we wanted was to Big Papa Pump and Goldberg and Steiner.
We wanted Austin versus Goldberg.
We wanted Austin versus Goldberg. We wanted
DDP
versus The Rock, and we wanted Sting versus Undertaker. That's the three-man main event we wanted to see in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But whatever. It is what it is.
Instead, we sort of got Rock Hogan. I mean, we got Rock Hogan.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
But for, like, the first couple of minutes.
Hall.
Greatest, one of the best stunners.
Oh, yeah.
Best WrestleMania stunners.
Pat McAfee is definitely making a claim.
Dude, can you put the belt on Pat McAfee, like, now? Like, can we just do that? Or have him be... Imagine the commentary booth where that guy is holding the Money in the Bank. There is now tension every time the champion is on screen, because guy's just sitting right there.
Sitting there ringside.
Just anytime. Anyway, also congratulations to Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera for getting married.
Yes.
Way to go. Good job, kids. But we've got now the AAA Mega Champion, El Hijo del Vikingo, one of my personal favorites, and I credit you, Pat, for putting eyes on this for me, taking on Alice Crowley.
Yes. Not Alistair.
Miss Crowley.
Big Al, the punk rock princess. Yeah, she was IWA Tag Team Champion when the evaluation period for the PWI 500 began, alongside Becky Idol. They lost them in a 4-way. She challenged for the IWA Mid-South Women's title a couple of times against both Holly Hood, Haley J, and Jessie Bell Smothers. Came up short both times, unfortunately. And she made it to the semifinals of the Ted Petty Invitational Tournament after picking up a win over Smothers and Billy Tipton. She actually missed some time late last year with an elbow injury, but I believe she's back in the ring now. Watched a couple of her matches, but I'm not entirely sure what the dates were on those. YouTube can be a little fuzzy about when it was uploaded versus when it actually happened. And then she's in there with, El Hijo del Vikingo, the son of the Viking, the current AAA Mega Champion, who really didn't come out of nowhere, because he was already kind of on the come up as a member of Los Jinetes del Aire in AAA, alongside bigger stars like Mistezis and Golden Magic, who is now Octagon Jr. But
I think for people like me, it was when the name was being thrown. There were names being thrown around of who's going to dethrone Kenny Omega as the Mega Champion. And when he popped up, people are automatically just because obviously it didn't go that way with Andrade, which naturally, progression-wise, that makes sense. But I mean, better choice in my opinion.
Yeah,
and also the new Mega Championship is, as a belt person, I love it. It's a good looking title.
Yeah. Destroyer there from Alice Crowley. Again, I feel like I make this same apology every week. It's hard to make women in Fire Pro. So, Alice and Kaya McKenna in the last match, I apologize. I know your face just doesn't look right. But unfortunately, I did the best I could with what I had. And I'm not skilled enough to go into Photoshop and actually recreate your face some of the top editors do.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. But on the plus side, I only have 6 more to make, and then we'll have everybody. So, would I prefer it if people were to upload those edits before the end of the week? Sure.
Do us a favor.
But I'm going in with the expectation that I'm gonna have to do it myself. Oh, shooting star to the back of Alice Crowley.
That did not look like a full rotation.
Burned a little bit there, yeah.
That looked like it hurt.
Took the Lesnar approach there. Sliding drop kick there from Crowley.
That would have been the best finish if that had been pulled off.
It should have been. That should have been one for the highlight reels forever. Oh, that MX off the top rope. That's usually her finish, but instead she goes for a somersault senton. Oh, and a code breaker right back at her.
I feel like we're going to get a lot of anything you can do, I can do better in this.
It does certainly seem that way so far.
And who's our referee for this?
Ryogaku Wada, another GLEAT referee.
I love this new working relationship we have with GLEAT.
That's right. Hijo del Vikingo, this was only his 2nd appearance on the PWI 500. Last year he was number 300. This year, 42.
Wow.
So
quite a leap.
And I would not be surprised to see him top 20 this year. I know you and I had talked about as we near the end of June, possibly doing a summer special where we kind of predict where people will land on the new list. There's at 6:30. That's his finish.
Oh, love it. Come on, carry them out. That's got to be it. This may be it. Oh no!
Pull her up.
Come on, that should have been. Oh,
Fisherman Buster from Crowley.
Say the biggest problem that the Vikingo faced is deciding not to win.
Yes, that should have done it. Oh god, that mule kick right to the face.
That's a great counter.
Back up top.
Now, I won't lie, this
is
the same energy you would see in real life from these two.
Yeah.
Which is
absolutely. This is probably the biggest stage for both of these in terms of like international exposure. They're sharing a card with Kofi Kingston and Penta Oscuro, Darby Allin.
Not sure what he's setting up
for.
Oh, countered
from Alice. Both slow to their feet. Are we going for a tombstone? Tombstone pile
My
driver
goodness.
from Alice Crowley. Just a PK to the spine. Series of kicks from Vikingo. Through to the corner. I fully expected him to charge in with something. There's that code breaker again. Standing moonsault. That's the
nice
10-minute
moonsault.
2, 3.
That's good.
Breaker,
that was
and
good.
The standing moonsault.
Nice, quick, 10-minute match. Very good.
10-10. Picks up the win. That is our
Hijo del Vikingo.
They're calling it a double knee chin crusher, but of course we all know it's a code breaker. Go over Alice Crowley. 98% according to the fine folks over at Fire Pro. So far, we've had our matches end with a code red and a code breaker. What other codes?
What codes could there possibly be? That like, looking back, it was like we all knew it was Jericho, like really easily. It's like, oh, there's a Y and a 2 in there. I wonder who it could be.
Who could possibly be?
Who was that masked man?
Mr. America.
Who looked just like Hulk Hogan. I don't know what.
Just like him.
Like him.
Resemblance was uncanny.
There were a lot of people who were actually like thinking like, oh yeah, it's and like trying to put like, oh, it's Brutus Beefcake. I'm like, guys, it's Hogan.
No, that's
just don't do this to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do this to yourself, guys. I will say that we are not one of the if you've watched any of our shows, you can tell that we are not an anti-AEW trolling bot.
No.
So if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. For all pro wrestling opinions, for, any promotion. PW Simulated. Yeah. That's us. And who is this? Dmitry Alexandrov.
Dmitry Alexandrov, the Russian renegade, the Siberian savior. 6'3", 220, from Oklahoma. Okay, so that part's not.
Well, okay, yeah, you got to gimmick it, but
he was involved with several titles and tournaments during the evaluation period. He won the Ryder Herring Memorial Cup for Wrestling for a Cause back in September of 2020. He won the All-Star Pro title before losing it in a three-way to Tim Rockwell, who he then beat to win the Wrestling for a Cause championship. He held that title twice during the evaluation period. He was also the Metroplex Wrestling champion, and then he would eventually lose that in a Prison Break six-man at an event called MPX Mayhem at Mid-Cities.
That's awesome.
6-year pro. Part of his gimmick is that he fights bears. I was unable to confirm or deny whether he actually does.
It's just training, to be honest.
Yeah, he's essentially Zangief.
Yeah.
Except he's from Oklahoma. And that referee might look a little familiar. She is in this tournament representing Oz Academy. That is Mio Shirai, the sister and former tag team partner of Io Shirai, who was forced to retire due to a series of injuries, and is now a referee for Oz Academy, and is now joining us here in Pro Wrestling Simulated.
Fantastic. I've been watching the return of sorts of the Sky Princess back to Stardom.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad to see Kairi back in her element.
Kairi Sane, excuse me, Kairi. Just fantastic. The entrance that she had on her return was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I wish it was easier to find Stardom shows. Like the last thing we need is another subscription service,
right?
But honestly, Stardom. I mean, we've kind of established that I'm sort of an AEW mark at this point, but aside from AEW, Stardom might be the best wrestling show in the world right now in terms of just talent, top to bottom. There is a Twitter account whose name escapes me at the moment, Pro Wrestling Flosion, I think, that has been doing a series over the last week of just montages of Stardom wrestlers doing cool moves. It was like, here's 106 seconds of Shuri doing cool moves, and then it's literally just a compilation of her doing really cool moves. Like, here's a compilation of Julia doing really cool moves. Here's Utami Hayashishida doing cool moves. Speaking of cool moves, we talked a lot about Dmitry Alexandrov. He's in there with Jun Akiyama, who almost needs no introduction at this point. But we'll give him one.
We'll give him one anyway.
He's a member of the Burning stable in DDT, which, despite it being DDT, doesn't actually mean what you probably think it means in DDT. Trained, I mean, he's a 29, 30-year pro, trained by Giant Baba and Jumbo Tsuruta.
Awesome.
If that's not, a championship pedigree, I don't know what is. He's the... I don't think he is any longer, but he held the KOD Openweight Championship for a big chunk of the evaluation period. He won the DO Grand Prix. He was in All Japan when the evaluation period started. Jumped to DDT, which is cool for DDT that they're in addition to the silliness that they're known for, they're getting big names to jump for the in-ring purposes as well. Kenny Omega and Sami Zayn had a fun tweet exchange yesterday, I think, about DDT and how there's more to it than just the comedy.
Oh, for sure.
They both showed highlights of their match that they had there. And as expected, it was amazing. If you want to see a recent, really good Jun Akiyama match, check out last year's Cyber Fight Festival. He had a really good match with Harashima on June 6th last year. He has been, his first PWI 500 appearance was back in 1994 when he was number 119. He peaked in 2012 at number 6. Fell all the way back down to number 440 last year, which was his lowest, and then he's at 51 on the 2021 list. So he's kind of been all over the 500 over the years. Big Death Valley driver from Alexandrov. He's hit a couple of those. Akiyama sends him off the ropes. Exploder suplex.
I'm trying to get like a bead on who these guys remind me of in terms of style. And it's
2.
There's something,
almost a big upset from Alexandrov.
There's something about like big guys doing powerful suplexes. Like that's one of the reasons I've always loved the Road Warriors, because they were just two big dudes who lifted up and threw around everyone, and I love seeing that.
And usually they were safe. Because there are also big guys who throw people around that are not so much. I say usually. But there were certainly exceptions. Some fairly notable ones. Guillotine choke from Akiyama. Alexandrov trying to get to the ropes. Doesn't need to. He's strong enough to get out of it. So Akiyama just pile drives him on the top of his head.
What's your favorite pile driver?
I mean, I feel like it's a cliche to say Lawler's, but it's probably Lawler's.
I've always loved Cactus Jack's pull-up stump pile driver, but I'd say that and Bret Hart's.
Bret was going to be my second answer as well. He had a great pile driver.
Remember when that was like, that move is banned?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it ever happened, you were just like, was that a shoot? Was that supposed to happen?
Yeah, when Cena pulled it out during the match with Punk, everybody was like, well, he just did a pile driver. That's how you know.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, obviously it's not banned. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's only used when they say you can use it for a match.
It's not banned, it's restricted.
Right. But it used to be like there were kayfabe rules where if the pile driver was used, it was a disqualification. And I didn't understand why, because there's plenty of other moves where people are being dropped on their heads.
Yeah. Much more dangerous. Alexandrov pulls off the massive upset.
Very nice.
Number 462, Dmitry Alexandrov.
And a shout out to Ashton Starr, by the way, for giving us a shout out.
Yeah, that was cool. Invitation's still open. Ashton, if you're out there watching, we will shoot you a link to join us on commentary.
No problem. Absolutely. We will easily get that going.
Though Fire Pro calls that finisher the face slam. Probably a cooler name for it. But
it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. A little on the nose. Just like Akiyama.
That's exactly where it landed.
Yeah.
On the nose. Dmitry Alexandrov. Gotta love a good Russian wrestling name.
Strong like a bear.
June, we hardly knew ye. But, man, I hope medical attention is going to that face.
Yes.
You just got slammed. Good lord.
Now we'll see a man in action who, just the latest in not the latest. There have been some since him, which is sad because it hasn't been that long. But one of the latest in a long line of guys that WWE built up and then kind of forgot about. But first, here's Sidney Steele. 13-year pro, Power Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion, had to relinquish the title after a controversial no contest finish against Travis Copeland, but then he won it back in a 60-minute Iron Man match. So he held the title through the entire evaluation period, save for the 4 weeks where it was vacated.
It's a very accurate, up-to-date model of Kofi Kingston now. Well done.
That's Kofi Kingston of the New Day. That's not an updated graphic, but very updated Kofi. Our referee clearly just rolled out of bed.
I was gonna say, is that Hook? For a second, that couldn't be more casual.
That is Natsuki Taiyo from Seedling.
You heard Hook, by the way, is having his first non-AEW wrestling appearance at Creative Pro New York for a match.
Oh, fun. That's Myers and Cardona's promotion, right?
Yeah.
Test of strength here. Kofi with the drop toe hold. Sidney Steele already introduced a chair into the ring. Hasn't used it yet, but it's there.
I mean, if you're going to get noticed.
Yeah. There are better reasons to be noticed than the guy that brained Kofi Kingston with a chair, but also the match started with Kofi drop kicking him to the floor, so a little frustration is understandable. Oh god, Kofi went for a Frankensteiner, but Steele just reversed it into a powerbomb. These two are bringing out the big guns here.
Anybody who thinks that Kofi what was never worth a main event spot. You know what I say to that? Stupid. Oh, God, it's so like, what happened after that Madison Square Garden show? That just, why? Like, it bothers me to this day of why it just never. Oh man. I remember just watching like, this is a star-making moment. Mm-hmm. This is great television. Kofi Kingston's gonna be a huge. Yeah. Where'd he go? What happened? What happened? And like that, Kofi's gone.
Just like that. And it would take him, what, like
10 more years
to get that. 10 years, yeah.
They love to remind us. Like, there's something I call the Wikipedia promo. Where and it's something that Miz and Ziggler do a lot, where I'm gonna run down all of my title wins and my history, and it's just like, why? Because if you're telling me all this now, and I'm looking at you in the spot you're in now, it's almost less impressive that you're just still here,
right? Having
done all that.
You're a 7-time Intercontinental Champion, and now you're teaming with Logan Paul. Like that's
what are you making it seem like that is valuable? Yeah. It just I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's Wonderwall. Like that's how I feel like you could just follow up any of the. It's like, all right. Well.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play?
Always love that joke.
Steel goes for the cover, only gets one. Sends him off the rope. Ooh, big back elbow.
Hearing, because I listened to the first several episodes of New Day's podcast, which are just gems of hearing three guys who truly love each other having the best time.
Yeah.
Hearing what could have been and almost was Kofi Kingston's entrance for Kofi Mania is upsetting.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that story.
He was going to have like this huge West Ghana tribal band play a remixed version of the New Day song.
Nice.
Play him out, and like they were all going to come out in traditional gear from his home, and it was going to be amazing. Like they had this whole drum lineup set up, and then for whatever reason it was like one of those things where they got pitched and it was almost ready to go, and then just didn't happen.
That stinks.
I mean, again, the match versus Danielson is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And it's such a great moment. But then just nothing happened afterwards.
Yep.
I thought for a little while they were having Kofi kind of going to be like, I'm happy, and he was like subtly breaking things and like just kind of being angry in the background for a little bit, and you were kind of hoping to pick up like, maybe Kofi's losing it that he just lost to Brock Lesnar in like no time. Like maybe there's something to this, and again, nothing.
Nope.
And it's gone.
Right back to happy-go-lucky Kofi. Right back to the status quo.
That's the saddest, is when it's just status quo is like the worst thing for WWE. Mm-hmm. Because it just makes me wonder, like, why do you want me to care?
Yeah.
What do you want me to invest in?
In the immortal words of Dr. Horrible, the status is not quo. I haven't watched that in years. I should go back and rewatch that. Oh, I don't know what Steel was going for, but Kofi turned it into a sunset flip.
I will say this. Keep your memory of Dr. Horrible where it is.
Yeah.
Because there are some just like cringe jokes because you remember that it's Whedon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Ooh,
oh!
Big lariat out of the corner from Steel.
I would call that one a clothesline, actually, because he carried it the whole way.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
He did not throw it.
His body brought the action up the shoulder.
So remember, folks, you run into a clothesline, you get hit with a lariat. And Kofi gets it with that fantastic combination. No upsets today so far.
Well, yeah, no, Alexandrov beating Akiyama.
I mean, in terms of our God,
that was 462 beating 51.
Yeah, but we've had this run of almost every match becoming one. So
yes.
By our own metrics, we've had
yes.
a very low number.
Yes. As almost said FP because I'm looking at the Fire Pro logo. As PWS tradition would have it, this has been a relatively upset-free. No, they're saying the drop kick was the finish there, but it was really that kind of striking combination that led to the drop kick. But Fire Pro doesn't go that far back when picking winners. Right, time for our first half main event.
I do love that Kofi Kingston's you got your handle, but then you've got your Twitter name, and right now his is Sir Kofi Krampus. I don't even know what I mean. I know Krampus, but you, sir, you are no Krampus.
One more to add, and then we can get this next match up.
I was playing around with Fire Pro on my computer yesterday, just to see, like, what I give you so much credit, Pat, into having all of this stuff ready to go, like, in terms of the matches. But then at the same time, I'm like, I love that Fire Pro remembers the last settings you had and keeps them, so you don't have to keep cycling through it every single time.
Yep.
God, that game is fantastic for that.
It really, I mean, it's a good game to play. It's very hard to play.
Yeah.
The timing is very difficult. But as a simulator, it's pretty close to perfect. Especially, I mean, because I could definitely do more, put more effort into the editing, like, if this, then this, for some of these edits, but man, just the depth of the move sets and just everything that they can do. It's a pretty remarkable game.
Is young Miles going to be the sacrificial lamb to the machine, Brian Cage?
I mean, just look at that physique. Like, that's not a default in-game texture. Somebody built Brian Cage's body in Photoshop and uploaded
and then put it onto the body.
To the community, because there was no body in the game that looked like Brian Cage's.
That's a super heavyweight build, and then they put a muscle texture over it.
That's exactly right. That's the male large chest with a texture that they created. So young Miles, Preston Miles, he's still young, but at this point he's a 10, 11 year pro. Been around a while now. From Toronto. It's his first time on the PWI 500 at number 430. He won the Super Kicked title, Super Kick 'D, from Tarek back in December of 2020, which he then held through the end of the evaluation period. Really kind of hard for Canadian wrestlers to get noticed during the PWI 500 evaluation period last year because Canada had much stricter COVID protocols than the US did. Shocking, I know.
Good news, though, recently for New Japan. They are giving a lot more work visas so that talents can finally go outside of the country. And we may see some awesome dream matches coming up. Still hoping for Tanahashi in the States on national television.
I still think that they're going to do Tanahashi and Moxley at some point.
You got to think it's got to happen, right?
I really feel like I know Mox wants it, and I'm pretty sure Tana wants it too. I feel like I've seen him talk about it.
The United States Championship got vacated because Sonata got injured. Hope nothing for the best for Sonata, but if Tanahashi regains that championship, you gotta hope that on Dynamite or Battle of the Belts or somewhere on AEW television or pay-per-view, we're gonna see Mox and Tanahashi finally get that rematch.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see that be for the vacant title. We're getting Suzuki and Joe on Wednesday.
That blew my mind. Like, that just kind of dropped.
Just like 5 days notice, TK tweeted something during Rampage about how he's working on a match that's going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, that worked. That did it.
And it worked. And then 20 minutes later, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing Samoa Joe against Minoru Suzuki.
For the television title of Ring of Honor. And I was like, because I was wondering, like, TV title's probably going to get vacated because there's no television for Ring of Honor. And I'm like, wait a minute, you idiot. He owns the television. Yeah. He owns the company and has a TV show to put it on.
2 TV shows plus 2 YouTube shows that title can get defended on.
You think we're going to see another switch?
I don't know. It seems too soon, but it also seems too soon for Joe to lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this is a very interesting spot because Suzuki is Suzuki. It's the television championship. You also have to put in... There's, like, a lot of factors outside of kayfabe that you have to kind of, like, put into the fact that, you know, overseas talent, how often can you book them? Joe, it's his second match, then again... You want to hope that Jay Lethal is not going to be like pulling shenanigans with Sanjay Dutt for an interference angle or something. But
that's like, what my fear is that we're going to get some kind of no contest finish, which AEW does not do.
That's the other thing, is that because they don't do it, is this permissible?
Is now the time? Yeah. Like the DQ finish for the Moriarty MJF match.
Right.
There hadn't been that was the first televised disqualification in AEW history after, 2+ years on the air.
Yeah.
I think you could probably get away with that.
They earned that one. And then people were always wondering, like, well, why aren't there any like disqualifications in the show? I'm like, right there. So that when it does happen, it matters.
It means something when you get that. So yeah, I mean this might be the time to do it. Have Lethal and Dutt get involved, and maybe that's your opportunity to bring in Gresham.
Yeah.
Have him, make his AEW debut. Rumors are swirling that it's, either he has already signed or he's about to sign.
I feel like at this point, all the champions, obviously...
Tiger feint kick.
Ooh, very nice. Cage. Speaking of people who could be potential Ring of Honor champions, Brian Cage, with now being part of Tully Blanchard Enterprises, with the tag team, was it The Gates of Agony?
The Gates of Agony.
God, what a name.
Khan and...
Toa.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jesus. First of all, great tag team. Yes. They murdered CB. Yes, poor Cheeseburger. How great was it to hear Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman on commentary again?
Oh, it was so good.
In such a well-produced pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And apparently the most watched pay-per-view in Ring of Honor history.
2.9, Young Miles almost pulled off our second upset of the night.
Fightful Select right now is flooding my Twitter feed with updates.
Cage. Side slam.
Oh, wow. After this match, when we come back for the break, I have some big New Japan news for Wrestling Dantanku, as they just released their card. Holy crap.
That's the May 1st show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had pre-announced one match. I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it and being like, oh, that's almost worth a buy just on its own. But I have New Japan World, so I don't have to buy it.
Exactly.
I can just watch it. Cage taking a second to catch his breath. Miles is pushing him here. I feel like Cage has controlled most of the match, but Miles just won't die.
Not to be confused with Don't Die, right. Miles.
There is also Don't Die Miles. This is not that.
This is a Miles that won't die.
Brainbuster from young Miles. 2, 3.
Whoa!
Big upset. The Machine, Brian Cage, goes down in round number 1.
I wish he was on Twitter so that I could actually tag him.
Right? There
of
are
all
a couple
the times.
Profiles that kind of seem like they might be him, but they also might just be fan accounts. So sometimes it gets it's hard to tell with Twitter. So I don't take chances. I just throw a hashtag on there. So Brian Cage is 13 seconds with a dangerous DDT.
What does the GMSI stand for at the end of Brian Cage's Twitter handle?
GMSI.
I have no idea. It's so weird. I can't figure it out.
What does that mean? I will look that up during the break and see if I can get you an answer.
But I'm happy for Brian Cage being in Ring of Honor. I think he's a great fit there and can be so much more refocused as a monster in that promotion with a monster tag team behind him or alongside him.
Yeah.
But when we come back, we've got Penta El Cerro still coming up. We've got Calvin Tankman. We've got apparently our new friend Ashton Starr.
That's right.
And Rocky Romero, and of course in the main event, Tomohiro Ishii. All this and more when we come back in 5. We will see you then. And we're back. So we were just looking over New Japan revealing their full card for May 1st's Wrestling Dontaku, coming back to the
Fukuoka?
Yeah. The PayPay Dome. Just call it the PayPay Dome. Why would I even bother trying anything else? For the biggest card in years. So many title matches.
Yeah. 6 title matches so far.
6 title matches. We've got Kazuchika Okada defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship for a 4th time against Tetsuya Naito. That will be interesting, because these, rematches happen in New Japan. Every time, though, there's always a story of escalation in terms of, like, I have done so much to you to defeat you, or I have been defeated by you. What else can I do? So I'm going to be curious as to seeing how that's going to work out. Granted, I'm not too thrilled lately with some very safe booking, it seems like, lately with New Japan, but I'm curious as to how that's going to play out. Tanahashi and Ospreay will fight for the vacated IWGP United States Championship. Sonata had to relinquish it at Hyper Battle this year because of a fractured orbital bone. Yikes.
Yeah. For those of you not familiar, that means his face is broken.
It's unfortunate because Sonata having a singles title like this was supposed to kind of be like a launching point, but a little unfortunate setback. If Tanahashi does win, he'll regain the belt that he lost to Sonata. And, like we were saying, a rematch with Mox could be possible. However, if Ospreay wins, he'll be both the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion, which is a belt I don't even know, like, its legacy of. All I know is that I've seen it on Zack Sabre Jr. and I've seen it on Will Ospreay, and that's about it. I'm not too familiar with Rev Pro, but I feel like it's just this British adjacent New Japan promotion at this point because of the one title. It's curious to me to see if the man who is basically the leader of a stable called the United Empire is holding both the British Heavyweight and the United States Heavyweight Championship. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Ospreay has just been on a tear since having his "I'm the real world champion" storyline going.
Yeah.
El Desperado is going to be defending the championship against
Ishimori.
Taiji Ishimori. Very nice. Yeah. Evil defends the Never Openweight Championship against Tama Tonga, old Tommy Tango. I love Tama Tonga. I think that him and Tonga Loa. I always want to say Toalanga. I'm like, that's wrong. Tonga Loa are just a vicious gaggle of bastards. It's really no way to, like. Have you ever seen like them just? There's a video from this YouTube group Web Culture where they went to WrestleMania 37, I think that was in MetLife. It was a couple of years ago. It's the biggest show in New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But like, and they went and crashed the Bullet Club party that was going on, and apparently nobody told Haku that it was a work. And God. He almost beat the living hell out of them while they were trying to invade the party.
Oh my God.
Very, very funny. Almost shoot fight breaks out. So the tag team of 6 or 9 will defend the junior IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against Kanemaru and Doki. We're also going to see Tonga Loa will face Yujiro Takahashi. There's going to also be
There's the IWGP tag titles. Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto against Cobb and Great Khan. Against,
very nice.
Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens.
Yeah, that's the other reason why I'm wondering, like, could it be an Ospreay night? Because United Empire just won the tag belts. A double title for Ospreay will just make him more insufferable.
And hey, the United Empire logo's showing up on American TV. I don't know if you noticed TJP was wearing the armband.
I did notice that.
This match this week on MLW Fusion.
Is he like
apparently Francesco Akira just joined?
Yes.
Who I'm still trying to figure out what his contract status is. Did he jump to New Japan?
I was surprised. I was trying to figure it out because like I watched it. I was like, oh, I know that guy because of our show.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason. Like I watched it. I was like, oh wow, look at that crossover. But man, this is just a great lineup. And then of course you've got the traditional like multi-man tag with Takahashi, Shingo, Fujinami.
Katsumi Fujinami.
Yeah. Versus Tai Chi, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taka Michinoku. Oh man, have you watched? I went down a rabbit hole of Taguchi matches. That guy is like brilliant. And watching him with doing one of my favorite gimmicks of his was the coach, where he basically became like a European football coach, and he would do this like fake whistle blow and tell everyone to rally by doing like a corner move into his opponent, and then eventually like he would do it and then he'd tell everyone to rally again, and it was one of those things where it's like, okay, they did it 3 times, how many more times can they do it before it stops being funny? And then they do it again. I love spots like that, and like the corner chops. Yeah. Like I know that Kojima does those, and will go and then stop and then go again, and like Kenta Kobashi did those. Yeah. Good lord. and those I saw Kenta do those live against Joe, and I thought Joe was gonna die. Like Joe's chest is gonna cave in. He was like and then slowed down, and then like yeah. I can't imagine. Just my hand hurts just thinking about going that far.
Yeah, man, Kobashi's chops. I mean, you go back and look at like those matches with Misawa and Kawada and Taue from those years. Like the peak of All Japan in the 90s.
Just amazing years.
Just
amazing
beating
years.
The hell out of each other.
No regard for safety.
No, none at all.
When the Burning Hammer was introduced, it looked like he killed someone.
Yes.
Like, it just looked like, you can do that? You're allowed to do that? Like, I know that there's a level of safety, but like, that was like my introduction to Japanese wrestling was those years of like Kobashi and Misawa and all the being like, when the tapes around indie shows were being passed around, and I was never kind of like, there was such a niche market for the indie fan who was just like, oh yeah, I like wrestling, but have you seen Japanese wrestling?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, because like you're just go away, I don't want this conversation. Usually if somebody's asking me if I've seen something in Japan, it ends up being weird and perverted. But
yeah.
But there was a comedian who said, like, of course it's weird and perverted. Think about it. If your society is repressed for that long and then you drop 2 atomic bombs on people, you're going to release some feelings.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I feel like at the time, your options for Japanese wrestling tapes were All Japan guys chopping the absolute hell out of each other, or like
death matches,
blowing people up.
Yeah. And I wasn't supposed to. Those were like, oh, you cannot be caught watching death matches, or you will never be able to be around a television again.
Yeah.
So I watched those matches at my friend's house, and then got squeamish and went outside and almost threw up. True story. You okay, Mike? I'm alright.
I'll be fine. That was
me.
Me.
Fine, guys. Just can we watch Hogan or something?
That was me the first time I saw that Sabu Terry Funk match. Was
Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
This should not be.
I think I can see muscle.
I want to go home.
I am home.
I am home. God damn it.
All right, kids, let's go home. Dad, we are home. That was fast.
That was fun. All right. Speaking of taking it home, let's take this bit home and go back to real simulated wrestling.
Let's do it.
I'm trying to up my segue game. If you haven't noticed.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
You know what? Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna switch us up. Now I'm over.
Look at that.
Over here. It is time with no dancing sidekick at his side, lip syncing to the lyrics of their entrance song. In a costume of the bargain bin of Spirit Halloween.
Right, he's the observer from Mr. Science Theater.
But Jordan Blade, the submission sniper, is now going to be facing off against Penta Oscuro.
Yes, Jordan Blade. We saw their tag team partner Eel O'Neill earlier in the tournament. Together, they are the Kings of the District, representing the DMV. Jordan Blade, the first wrestler I have ever seen on Cage Match, where they'll list like their background in sports. They have Frisbee listed as one of their sports. Frisbee and Jiu-Jitsu.
True representation of a lost art.
Jordan Blade, the ankle breaker, the submission sniper, trap daddy. Just in
Trap Daddy.
Their chest says Julia. That's just because there is text across their chest. But I, again, don't have the Photoshop skills to actually design these things. So I just use the font from Julia Hart's top for Jordan Blade here. But yeah, in there against Penta Oscuro, Penta El Cerro Miedo, Pentagon Jr., Pentagon Dark, Dark Dragon, Penta El Zero M, El Hijo del Cuchillo, which means the son of the knife, Zyrus. He's had a few gimmicks over the years, to
say the least.
And he's not that old. He's 37. That's a lot of gimmicks for 13 years as a pro.
For sure. What's your favorite Penta? Because mine is definitely from the Lucha Underground years.
Yeah, Pentagon Dark in Lucha Underground for sure. His arm collector days where he was just going around.
I was hoping like that was going to come back in some fashion.
I thought that's where they were going with the Oscuro stuff.
But... Yeah, like I thought like, oh, okay, we're bringing back the Lucha Underground Penta. Yeah. Okay, cool, let's do that. And then they didn't do that. Why didn't you do that? I wanted that. That's
what I want.
That's what I wanted.
But no such luck.
I mean, Penta, I really hope that Phoenix has a nice recovery because, man, their tag team matches are missed. I love Penta as a wrestler. I just think that Penta and Phoenix are better together.
Agreed. Although, which is really saying something because I think they're probably two of the maybe 25, 30 best wrestlers in the world as singles.
Right.
But there's just something magical about the two of them together. Now, would I be upset if Phoenix came back and Penta turned on him and we got those two feuding and having a series of matches?
I kind of would.
Reconcile?
I kind of would.
Eventually they'd reconcile, but,
I don't need that. There's...
I just want to see the matches.
Well, like, if they're competing against each other and the whole thing is, it's like, listen, this is the way that we got put into the competition. We're gonna fight, and then that'll be it. I get that. I'm all for that. It's when it feels forced.
Yes.
The only time that I was down with it was when it was Kingston's storyline. He made a point to be he was being an antagonist on purpose to the two of them. Eventually it was oh right, you guys shouldn't be fighting because you actually do have a best friend who cares about you. Oh, here he is. And that's when Pac came back. It still doesn't feel Death Triangle is great. I just don't think Pac is the right fit for the trio. He's such a better singles wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a couple, admittedly, we're both pretty big AEW fans.
Well, that's the thing. It's AEW has a lot of talent from all over. So we do spread our opinions on it based on all of the stuff that they have done over their careers.
Yeah, well, it's like I said earlier, all of wrestling is canon in AEW.
Exactly.
But, you and I were talking just, privately over the last couple of days about, some things that AEW could be doing better. I think that's one of them, is that some people are just not in the right either group or the right position, and Pac's one of them. I love the Darby and Sting pairing, but Darby has lost a lot of momentum.
Yeah, eventually there's got to be something for the two of them to be I think we've done all we can do together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be it's just got to be one of those mutual splits where it's listen, you got your path. I think I've found somebody that I need to help out. That it's just those things where it's I've always got your back. Don't worry about that. And you can always team them up again. But I feel at this point, Sting needs a new Ward. Sting needs a new Robin.
There was an element of truth to...
Darby Allin needs to become Nightwing. And now Sting needs a new Robin.
There's definitely an element of that with, Andrade, just trying to buy Darby from Sting.
Thank God they dropped that.
Yeah.
And now they're just eternally fighting the Hardys.
Yes. Which,
Some storylines, I realize, with AEW, it's not everything has to be a long, sweeping, epic story. Sometimes people can just wrestle.
So sometimes you can have a, 3 or 4 week series and then be done. Everything still should mean something, but it doesn't have to be an epic.
The wins and losses can still matter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be an angle behind everything.
Right. That's right. As long as there's a consequence for what happens.
Exactly. Ooh. Like in our tournament. It's very simple.
Like our tournament.
You lose, you're out.
Yep. One and done.
That's all it needs.
As we've learned already, we've seen some pretty big seeds go down. Today alone, Jin Akiyama and Brian Cage are out of the tournament. It goes right back to that arm. Kimura just trying to snap the arm of Jordan Blade.
And don't do that to your friends, folks.
No.
It's not fun.
No, it hurts.
Don't try this at home, is what we're trying to say.
Yes. Or at school,
or anywhere.
Work. Yeah, just
unless you're a professional. Don't do this.
Yeah. If you want to do it, find somebody to train you on how to do it safely.
Absolutely. But don't just do it.
A lot of places will train you pretty young.
Yes.
They'll start with the basics. But...
Never go to someone who is just willing to take your money.
Yes. Find a reputable school.
Yes, do your research.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an East Coast person, I would say Creative Pro is absolutely a place to look.
Absolutely.
That's my number one choice.
Yeah, just look for... rather than look for who's doing the training, look for who they've trained.
Yes, always.
Because you can tell, any, former pro can open a school, but, look and see, okay, he's going right back to the arm. He really wants Jordan Blade's arm, but Blade gets into the ropes. But yeah. Oh, and there's the pack. This is over. Fear factor.
This has got to be it.
Thanks for coming, Jordan Blade. You put on a good show.
Uno,
two,
dos.
Jordan Blade kicks out of the fear factor.
No tres.
Solo dos.
Wait.
Oh, right back into the armbar.
I guess that would be only two.
Yeah, only two. Yeah.
I had to do my own kind of Spanish translation for a second.
Actually, it would probably be solamente dos.
Yes.
Yeah. The center of the
Not
ring,
only do you get great
Arrow.
wrestling from our show, you learned new languages.
Yeah. Oh, God. Canadian Destroyer. Is he going back to the arm? No, what is... Super kick.
Is it a party, though?
No party. Well, I mean, it's...
Might be.
A party.
Might be.
Jeez.
I mean, I try to imagine how hard... How do you just... You can't fake... It's just so difficult to, imagine... Just trying to take a kick like that. I can't understand.
Right back to the arm. I mean, at this point, Scott Armstrong may want to think about just calling it, whether Blade submits or not, because I don't think Jordan Blade is going to give up.
Absolutely not.
Their arm has got to be shot. Elbow to the back of the head. And out of the face. Off the ropes comes Jordan Blade. Chops to the face off the ropes. Into the figure four. Scott Armstrong asking a lot if they're giving up. He's starting to borderline on Roddy Piper at which Mania was that when he refereed the I Quit match with Brett, and it may not have been Mania actually, now that I think about it. Whenever that match was. What do you say? What do you say? There it is. Armstrong calls for the bell. 20 minutes 58 seconds.
Don't try to get into a submission fight with a man who breaks arms. By the way, fantastic build for this character. This is probably one of the best looking character builds that we've. It looks like it's made for the game.
And there are the person that made it made multiple outfits. So he's also got his more traditional, the white kind of skeleton look.
Very cool.
Which is equally dope. I just thought this felt like more of the Oscuro. Felt more fitting for the current version of Penta.
Well, the daddy of the district is not in this tournament. Best of luck in your future tournament endeavors. One can only hope that...
Did Eel win his match? Looking. No. Both of the Kings of the District are gone. Eel O'Neill lost to Scorpio Sky back in episode 16. So, 0-2 record for the Kings of the Console. Kings of the Consoles. That's my podcast. Check it out every Thursday. Kings of the District, Penta Oscuro, has eliminated Jordan Blade.
But it's now time for one of my rising favorites in MLW right now. Calvin Tankman. I love a big, beefy boy when it comes to wrestling.
Slapping meat.
I've got specifics when it comes to it. It can't just be a big guy. They got to be a big guy who's got the big guy swagger, the big guy attitude, and the big guy moves. And Calvin Tankman lives up to that surname.
Check.
Absolutely. Just comes in and wrecks you. No, I have a better term for it. Trucks you. Because they come in like a Mack. And I hope to see some of that trucking action today. Or wherever you're watching this.
Yeah. If you're watching this in Australia, it's night.
We say that, and we hope.
Hey Google, what time is it in Sydney? There you go.
All right, well, I learned something.
1:48 a.m. Calvin Tankman. Indestructible Calvin Tankman. I almost forgot to...
Truly lives up to that name. Absolutely. Just... God, what a beast. What a freaking beast this man is.
And he's only been at it, what, like 5-6 years? He's still pretty new at it. He's only 27. But he's got to go in there against a fellow Midwesterner, Ohio's own, the 5-star stud, Joey Ace. The latest in a long line of my edits where the goatee doesn't quite line up with the rest of the face. And apparently at the hairline, he's transparent. I don't know how I keep doing that.
Listen, not everything's going to be perfect.
No, not. It's stark relief after watching that Penta match. Oh yes, my guy's missing part of his head.
It could be worse.
That's true. Then on the other side, there's the indestructible, the heavyweight hustle, 6'2", 354 pounds of Calvin Tankman.
What a name, heavyweight hustle.
Just a beast. Former Black Label Pro Heavyweight Champion. Lost the title to Jake something. Also challenged Jacob Fatu for the MLW World title at the Never Say Never last March. Came up short on that. Participated in Joey Janela's Clusterfuck Battle Royal at Spring Break last year. Made his PWI 500 debut last year, number 408. Jumped all the way up to 134 this year. So this is a guy on the rise from Muncie, Indiana. Like I said, fellow Midwesterner. He's got 4 inches on Ace, and he is 1 pound shy of being twice as heavy as
Good God.
Ace. Ace is 191. Tankman is 381. And Tankman, you saw he came out with the MLW Tag Team titles, having just won those with the Judge, EJ and Duca, having beat 5150. Not this most recent episode, but last week's Fusion.
And 5150 were on a tear when it came to tag team wrestling. And little bastards just beating everybody up left and right. With freaking Julius Smokes all the time. You sound more like an animal when you do it.
I do, yeah.
Some sort of dying squirrel. You gotta roll the R's, man. You gotta roll the R's.
Please, my goat, he's very sick.
Yeah.
It's just not working. I can
sorry, random Spanish, foreign man.
But apparently not when I'm doing a Julius Smokes impression. Hey, speaking of MLW tag teams,
are we gonna go there?
Well,
we're going to talk about it. I mean, it's in the air.
We should acknowledge the fact that Los Parks are no longer under MLW contract after they
may have no career, to be honest, after this.
What's that?
They may have no career after this in the States for a while.
In the States, yeah, I imagine AAA will probably welcome them back with relatively open arms, just because they're royalty there. And
apparently they thought that royalty carried over into MLW, where they were trying to keep kayfabe. Like, it's so weird. I sent you the whole story. I don't actually have it on me at the moment, though.
It was weird. It was weird. And it looked like they were, because they held the tag titles for most of last year, and they'd been kind of aimless since losing them.
So basically what happened is that, first of all, shout out to Davey Richards for basically saving the life of Alexander Hammerstone. With his ER doctor training. Literally, they were saying if he hadn't been there, it may have been much worse than it ended up being. There was supposed to be an angle
open by a chair shot that he didn't know was coming.
So apparently, there was supposed to be an angle where Fatu was going to be jumped and beat up for whatever reason by the Park family.
Yeah.
And they went a little OTT. And decided to make it look real, brother.
Now, apparently nobody told Fatu that this was going to happen. There may have been some, like, miscommunication in terms of when the angle was being filmed. Holy cow! Standing shooting star for Tankman. I don't know if that's normally in his repertoire, but it here is. But that was pretty impressive.
I'm going to look that up while you continue telling the story of the parts.
So they decide to go into business for themselves, as the saying goes, and go full like ham on Fatu, to the point where Hammerstone, I think he was supposed to come in and save Fatu now that they've kind of put their differences aside and
common enemy and country.
Common enemy with the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of deal. And one of the Parks decides to go full force back of the head chair shot onto Hammerstone's head, which you just don't do. You don't do that. In any standard. Like, it just should be said, like, that's not something that should be in any way practiced in wrestling. I mean, people called out Cody for a reason, despite the chair being gimmicked. Like, you just don't do a full-on headshot when everyone knows the deals with trauma and brain damage and CTE possibilities that could happen. And they just decide to go all out. So eventually a shoot fight started between them, and it got broken up. Apparently, the original LA Park is saying that language barriers stopped him from being able to communicate, that they went a little, like they were trying to be, not shoot about it, but more like just try to be real, and bring some heat to it. God, there's just so many old school wrestlers obsessed with heat in the wrong way. Just listen to Bully Ray on any of the Busted Open episodes. Hang on. Pinfall attempt.
2 count only. Calvin Tankman can do a running shooting star press.
That's awesome. I haven't seen him do it. I certainly hope it's one of those moves where it's like, oh, you think I can do this? Just wait.
I dropped a link in the chat if you get a spare moment.
I will certainly. I'm just like, so Court Bauer, who's in charge of MLW, he was like, you know what? It's not worth the hassle. I'm not going to press charges, but I'm not going to work with them again. And that was the right
driver
move.
From Tankman.
That was certainly the right move.
Yes.
Because it's better. It's probably just better to just cut your losses. Oh, surprise! There's a pin attempt. Thought he was going for a submission.
No, Ace just kicked him in the balls and turned it into a roll-up.
I mean, that is a maneuver.
It is.
By the strictest sense, it is a maneuver.
Just repeated shots to the tank.
Of tank. Man.
Yeah. I'll see how indestructible it really is. Oh God! Oh my God!
You can
like a gory special into a.
These guys are just demolishing each other.
2, 3.
That's it. That is of course that would be it. Winner via what was that?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I gotta wait for the result to see it.
I'm gonna leave it up on the screen to see. It looked like a gory special into a pile driver, but I don't know what you call it.
What are they going to call it? That's the interesting thing.
GFD. Okay.
Press pin. Well, okay. Whatever the GFD is.
Yeah, we'll be.
I'm going to say it's good for death.
Yeah. God, freaking darn it.
Heavyweight hustle. Calvin Tankman defeats Joey Ace.
The 5-star stud is out in round.
Yeah, he's at 0 stars right now, unfortunately. Although 95%, that's not bad. Absolutely, might be seeing 10. Somebody was asking, is there such thing as a 10-star match? I'm like, star matches, they're not real, guys. It's just a way of judging. You want to hear a real nerd? I was listening to a guy talk about how he actually has a point system for his matches. And by all accounts, his point system has now ranked Dax Harwood as the 3rd best wrestler of 2022. And the way I was listening to his points racks up. Absolutely. Dax Harwood, if FTR, God forbid, were to ever break up, or if for some reason Dax Hardwood had to carry, some singles run because Cash Wheeler got injured or whatever. Dax is Arn Anderson modern day. Yes. I think it was a bit of a shoot when he said, "I'm the son you wish you had," to Arn's face in front of Brock.
In front of Brock, yeah.
Now, I would love if... Now, I know this is wishful thinking, and it might be too copy and paste, but how great would it be if FTR does what BCC is doing, but with tag teams? Be like, listen, boys. Like, if they just take a tag team under their wing to be a stable, where it's like, we're not going to mix and match. We're just going to have, like, a united front. We'll watch your back, you watch ours, but we're going to show you a thing or two.
Yeah.
Because obviously the whole thing with Pinnacle, I mean, it hasn't fully been addressed, but it is showing that, like, we like Wardlow and we do not like what you are doing.
Yes.
Which I think is great. I think it's fantastic. I think Wardlow and FTR as a trio is going to be a great thing if that happens. And God, how great is it going to be when Wardlow finally gets that Powerbomb Symphony on MJF?
Oh, yeah.
It is
pop for that.
You want to talk about a pure, genuine star building build-up. Wardlow, Wheeler Yuta. I keep saying the other way around of his name. I think it's just because it sounds more fun.
Well, and Wheeler is a legit last name.
Yeah.
So
Wheeler Yuta, Wardlow. These are your new pinnacles. New pillars. And Thunder Rosa now with the women's championship, finally getting the promo time she deserved instead of that weird interference. Granted, I love Nyla Rose. I think she is such a good powerhouse. I cannot wait to see her turn face because her Twitter game is amazing. You have to follow her just for a good laugh, guys. I'm
Nyla
not
Rose
kidding.
Is probably the best wrestler on Twitter
she
right now.
Owns people. And when she comes out with catchphrases out of the blue, like abracadabra, bitch, I'm laughing my ass off. Loving the fact that no one is really hopefully they will. Maybe this will be a good run where eventually they'll be okay, she gets the respect, drops off Vicky, and it's just you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing because I'm a bad bitch. And Nyla versus Jade Cargill is the match I am waiting for. Mwah! You give it to me on pay-per-view into my veins.
Just hook it to my veins.
Hook it to my veins.
Oh my god.
There's our Simpsons reference for quota.
Nyla. I always thought that the pairing of Nyla and Nikki was weird.
It's unnecessary.
Nyla doesn't need a mouthpiece.
She doesn't need a mouthpiece.
Nyla's one of the best promos in the company.
Just let her talk. That's all you need to do is just let her talk. She will deliver. All right, so we've got now Marius Al-Ani versus Ashton Starr, apparently our new friend.
That's right. Absolutely.
But then again, we say that for anybody who retweets us. I mean, by all accounts, Dax Harwood is our friend.
That's right. Dax Harwood. Don't Die Miles, of course. Alex.
We love when the wrestlers get involved in the show, but because we're trying to just showcase the fact that you made the list. It's a big deal to be in the PWI 500. I know it's a kayfabe list and everything, and I know it's mainly just for a recognition of talent and effort and everything. But we're trying to do the same by putting you in a spotlight of a freaking video game. And probably the best wrestling video game of all time, save next to No Mercy.
And this doesn't have a bug that erases all of your save data periodically.
Oh, dear God. How terrifying were those moments?
It was awful. It was awful. I only recently learned that THQ had a program where you could send in your bugged copy and they would send you a one where it had been fixed. So I still have my bugged copy from whatever 2001.
You just put that on display, man. Just put it in a case.
I've been kind of joking that I kind of want to do a stream of whatever the opposite of a speed run is, like see how long I can play No Mercy before it resets itself.
I did a charity stream like that where there's that the famous one of games played well or something like that, or games played quickly. We did one where we played the hardest games or the worst games as best we could, and just trying to get through these. And it was a 12-hour marathon that we did, and half of us survived. But we had an arcade box that was custom made for us, and a ton of games that were put into it. And we streamed it, and we were just doing all these. It was a great stream. It was a great setup, and raised a good amount of money. It's for a channel called How Do I Jump. If you check that out, it's the I is the one.
Yeah.
My good friend Peter Kendall has been doing that channel for a long time. And it was a great stream. Painful Games Done Slowly. That's the way it was called. And it was a fantastic charity. But man, I played some terrible games. I was trying to always bring in like the fighting and the wrestling games, and I wanted to bring in like the SNK wrestling games and all the old school like console 16-bit, 8-bit games. And I would just be like, you guys don't understand the advancement we've made over the years.
Well, I mean, those of you that joined me on the stream 2 weeks ago when I played a very little bit of Tecmo World Wrestling for the NES.
Oh boy.
Not great, Bob. It's impressive for the era, but whew, boy, does it not hold up.
I actually now have... I need to look up the name because I need to look up my... I have Action Arcade Wrestling now, which I think I'll be streaming soon again, along with continuing Retromania Wrestling. I have to get a new Bluetooth controller. Mine crapped out for whatever reason.
I don't know.
But Action Arcade Wrestling is great because it's very smooth. All of the models are super simple, but the characters are along the lines of the old Starman days. And some of them even have, like, the special moves are like superpowers.
Nice. So it's sort of like Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Yes, very much.
I was playing Super Nintendo game.
God, good. These names just throwing me back.
I love Saturday Night Slam Masters. That was, until like the N64 PlayStation era, that was the best wrestling game out there, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
At least in the States, because the first Fire Pro came out in Japan around that time. But we didn't get one until Fire Pro returned.
Back in our day.
Whatever the one for PS2 was
right.
The first American Fire Pro. But still a Japanese game.
I feel bad. We have not talked about the talent in the ring
really haven't
at all.
And that's
we need to not discredit, especially when one of them is Mr. No BS.
That's right, Mr. No BS, Mario Salani, former WXW Unified World Champion.
That is the gentleman in the trunks, by the way, just so we have a distinguish.
The one that is covered in tattoos. In real life, only on one side, but
again, they mirror their sprites. So
yes, indeed.
Ran into the turnbuckle there, though.
Ran into the turnbuckle. He lost the title to Axel the Axeman Tischer, formerly Alexander Wolf in WWE, and has since left WXW, and he's just kind of tearing it up on the European indie scene.
I always saw WXW as like that was the European promotion.
Yeah. In terms of like mainland Europe, because I mean you talk about Rev Pro and Progress and stuff.
Because there's UK wrestling and then there's European wrestling.
Yes, exactly. And WXW is kind of the pinnacle of that. It's available on Peacock under the WWE tab. So,
that was a surprising library buy for me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, good on you.
I was very glad to see that.
I don't necessarily know how many talents from WXW, other than Walter, I guess.
Walter and
I'm
Tischer,
sorry.
Gunther
and his new tag team partner, Ludwig
Kaiser, yeah.
That's not going to bite them in the ass.
Nope. No, well, at least it's not Ludwig Klaus, like the rumor was.
Yeah, let's go. Like we didn't learn the first time of almost naming our wrestler after a Nazi.
Well, he's not named after a Nazi. He's named after the guy that the Nazis replaced.
Yeah, which is
the guy from World War I, not World War II.
For them, it's like, I mean, it's not Nazis, so. Right. Also, are we going to get flagged just for saying those words? I hope not.
It's also not Nazis.
Yeah, can we? Let's don't flag us just for saying that word. By the way, we're just trying to put it in context of what these characters almost were. Considering at one point Heidenreich was an almost unfrozen German soldier, we'll say. That was to be managed by Paul Heyman, a very Jewish man.
Alani, oh my god,
holy crap!
Flying crossbody. He's in there with Ashton Starr, who we've not had a chance to talk about. 7-year pro trained by Mr. Hughes. He's
Jericho's old running buddy?
That's right. And the former quarterfinalist in the 1993 King of the Ring, losing to Mr. Perfect by, I think, DQ. Something to do with The Undertaker coming out because he had stolen the urn. It was a whole thing. 1993 was really
After this match, by the way, I have something for you I think could be fun about the next step for The Undertaker.
Okay. Looking forward to that. But yeah, Ashton Starr popping up at indie shows all over GCW, IWTV, No Peace Underground. A couple matches on AEW Dark. Beat AC Mack before he was the independent world champion. Dylan McQueen, who we saw a couple weeks ago. He had a death match against longtime rival Billy Dixon at Effie's Fear the Gay Agenda show last year.
Which, by all accounts, was all right, as is Effie.
Yeah. And yeah, Effie's okay.
Effie is fine. That show was fine.
He also made it to the finals of the Cassandro Cup, put on by one of my favorite promotion names, Butch versus Gore. Made it to the finals of that tournament. So yeah, both these guys making their second appearance on the PWI 500. Alani was on the list in 2020 at number 463, jumped up to 163 in 2021. Ashton Starr was 457 in 2020, jumps up to 350 2021.
Well, there you go.
These are both guys on the rise. Ashton Starr, the American, wrestling out of Atlanta. He's originally from Stockbridge, Georgia. And then he's in there against Eisenach, Germany's Marius Alani.
I love the name of just. I mean, it's funny with Paul White because it was big show, so no BS, obviously.
Right.
But you get to literally Mr. No Bullshit.
There it is. And no bullshit with that fisherman suplex there. Marius Alani picks up the win
via fisherman suplex.
Number 1.
What's your favorite suplex variation?
I mean, I'll always be a sucker for a good superplex.
Yeah, the powerplex off the top rope has just always been my favorite. Because you just, if you can get the hang time on that just right, oh man, it just makes the fall just. But first of all, obviously, both men have to sell it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, both participants. It could be anybody who does that move. But just both of them have to sell it, or else it's just like, well then, you know, don't tell me it's fake without telling me it's fake.
Right.
Okay, so here's my Undertaker pitch post-career. First of all, I think he also has a future in TED Talks after that Hall of Fame speech, which was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I always like when you get to see like and this is really the only time on a WWE show where we've seen Mark Calloway. And if you're gonna do it, of course, do it at the Hall of Fame. Do it when you're retired. And it was great. It was really cool. But the whole time I'm watching, and there's like always been the mystique, the lore of the Undertaker. Now is the perfect time to do an Undertaker horror movie, WWE films.
see it.
To do the whole story. Like, a proper way. Like a fun, like, real old school John Carpenter style horror movie. Where, I mean, Old Man Calloway. They call him the Undertaker. Like, literally, how do you not have just this supernatural story of... Now, granted, I will tell you my entire pitch off air, because I have legit thought of a movie for this thing. But you've got, you know, his... you know, you have the pallbearer character, which I think you can change around out of respect to Percy Pringle. You have his brother Cain, obviously. I mean, the whole dynamic of the fact that his name is Cain, which is a deviation of the biblical Cain.
The first murderer, yeah.
And in some legends, the first vampire. Sorry, I always get loose track. But imagine a guy who literally is a person who's in charge of taking care of the dead, gets killed for whatever reason, then gets to come back and becomes like this boogeyman type character. You know, you get like, if Freddy Krueger was a hero, where he's coming back to take vengeance on it. But I have like a whole story. I may have to just email it to you because it's just so long.
Absolutely.
I thought of it. I was like, I had been thinking about it since Hall of Fame of an Undertaker like Netflix, either miniseries or a full like 2-hour movie that I feel like just probably could be WWE Films if that thing still exists. Best thing that they can do is to take their characters. Yeah, take their characters that, like, this is everything you could have done with The Fiend, and probably would have been better off if he was a movie character than a wrestler.
Yeah.
Now, like, doing a movie about a character like The Undertaker just makes sense. And you could still have him in it. Why not? Why wouldn't you have him star? But anyway. I get a little carried away sometimes with my ideas.
No, I think that's a great one.
You ever do that though, where it's like you start with an idea, but as you're talking to someone, you flesh it out, and then you start to realize like maybe this thing is good, and then sometimes, well, this has nothing.
Yeah, there's no
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I was about 2/3 of the way through a pilot script, and I knew where I was going. I knew what the ending was going to be, and then like the closer and closer I got to the ending, it was like, oh no, hold on. The ending of this pilot is the ending of the pilot of The Runaways. All right, gotta go back.
Damn it! I just wrote The Wire.
Like, I mean, there's one thing to be influenced by something. There's another thing entirely to just completely rewrite it.
Parallel thinking always like bothers me sometimes, but at the same time, I kind of try to take the compliment out of it, where it's like, if it's someone I respect who I think is very creative, also had the same idea as me, I like to think, oh, cool, we're on the same creative wavelength.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, damn it, they thought of it first.
Right.
Or they have the ability to showcase their idea first. I was like, nuts.
Yep. And
but
I'm with
now,
you, Damon. He does look like a newsie.
Yeah.
It's very much like the faceless kid on Spaceship Earth at Epcot.
Oh my god! What a reference. Who knows if that refurbishment will ever happen, by the way.
People read their newspapers upside down on this ride. Because they do. Every one of them have the front page headline facing out, which means that all of the text facing them is upside down. That's how newspapers work. Once you see it, you can't see it.
You can't unsee it, and you can't unthink it.
Yep.
I love that. There are sometimes I see those articles where it's like, once you see this, you can't unsee it. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't. Yeah. I like the thing that you're trying to ruin.
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
But let's go with no transition to Rocky Romero taking on Ashley Vox.
Ashley Vox.
I have no segue for that out of all that tirade of what we just went through. There's nothing I can switch to.
From the spaceship Earth to the sea stars. Now,
Nah.
There's Ashley Vox, newly signed to MLW. We saw her sister, Delmi Exo, on last week's show. She pulled off the upset over Kenta. Ashley will be hoping to do the same against another New Japan veteran.
Pulling an upset over Kenta is that only can be said here.
Yes.
Have I showed you the greatest Kenta match of all time?
I don't think you have.
Kenta versus now I can never remember his name. Oh god, it's just so quick. You know what? I'll look it up and then I will. You talk about these guys.
Okay. So Ashley Vox, we mentioned that she's one half of Team Sea Stars. She and her sister Delmi Exo look like, at least at the moment, look like they're probably going to be the centerpieces of MLW's women's featherweight division. So it's exciting. The 8-year pro, trained by Doug Summers, aka Poseidon Siren. Just a really excellent kind of all-around. She's one of those that not a household name yet, but she's one of those. Anytime she shows up on a show, if you're not familiar with her, by the end of it, you're chanting her name. She's excellent at pretty much everything. This is her first time on the PWI 500. She had no Meltzer-rated matches last year. Again, that will probably change now that she's signed with MLW, but we will see. She's been Shimmer Tag Team Champion and Battle Club Pro Tag Team Champion since 2019 and 2020, respectively, with Delmi Exo. They were also the Sabotage Tag Team Champions, but they lost it with 17 days left in the evaluation period to the team of Prince Adam and Vert Vixen.
Here we go. I found it. It's Ricky Marvin versus Kenta in Pro Wrestling Noah. And okay. You think about, New Japan is great. But does Okada have to go 40 minutes every freaking time? Does a TakeOver main event just get too tedious? Sometimes AEW pay-per-views, I'll admit, I'm like, that is just 2 matches too many in a bunch of them. Kenta versus Ricky Martin got the job in 5 minutes. They told a story of it is by far the best. I will call it a sprint match, because this match, they attempt to beat the ever-loving piss out of each other as quickly as humanly possible. Ricky Marvin sells the best GTS ever, in a point where it's just like, first of all, he does a kip up to avoid a punt kick, which was so amazingly timed. And then he sells the GTS where it's like, it's that long enough stagger where you think he's legitimately knocked out and then falls down. And I just, every time I watch this, to just be like, what's the greatest, people will say like, oh, what's your favorite match to show people for pro wrestling? And I immediately show them this one.
Yeah. When people say like, oh yeah, I show them Omega Okada, it's like, no. You don't take somebody who's never seen a movie before and show them Citizen Kane. No, you start with Jurassic Park,
exactly,
or Star Wars, or something that's fun.
Give them a good 90-minute story that's fun to watch.
Yes, which, in the same vein as that Kenta Ricky Marvin match, one of my favorite SummerSlam matches of all time is Kurt Angle against Rey Mysterio from, 2003, 2002? They only went 8 minutes, but again, they told a complete story. They, not to use insider terms, but they all got their shit in.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. It was a blast to watch, and it was, it didn't overstay its welcome. And, So
that's always the thing. You want to make sure that something doesn't overstay its welcome. I think this is how she beat Kenta last time, with these surprise maneuvers.
Yeah, it was a shining triangle was the finisher last time, where she went.
But that's the thing. Catching them off guard.
Yep.
Is certainly the way that Ashley Vox has been rising up in this tournament.
Yeah. This is her sister, Domi Exo, is the one who did that.
Excuse me, yes.
To Kenta last week.
That's why I was confusing.
Runs in the family.
Yeah.
Runs in the family. So, yeah, Ashley hoping to also advance to the round of 256 as her sister did. And, it's pretty wild. After this match, there are only 11 first-round matches left.
That's insane.
Huge lung blower there from Rocky Romero, representing Chaos.
I love Rocky Romero. I had a brief moment to work with him while I was working with NWA, and some of the West Coast talents were kind of mixing it up as they were trying to make like the East Coast equivalent. Didn't work out. Great show. Would have been great. And Rocky Romero was so entertaining. He was so funny, and he just kept everybody like. His matches where they did like there was you know how I've said like my friends have done matches where they've literally done nothing.
Yeah,
I've seen Rocky Romero is probably the master of that, because it was only at the end with the finish where he really picked it up and did everything that was just like made you, because again, when it comes to wrestling, you always remember the end of the show or the end of the match. That's always the thing that's going to stick with people's minds. And he did that perfectly, poetically even. And he was the heel. And he got everybody to just be so entertained and made the whole crowd. This was mainly like high schoolers and families that were in attendance. So it was kind of easy, but sometimes it can't be. But he knew the audience, and he knew exactly what they wanted to see. And this whole time, he was just being Mr. Azúcar and dancing and everything and just getting out of the way. And then when he finally got hit with something, or like, I forgot, God, now I can't remember. I think it was Apollo. Yes, it was Apollo that he was facing off. I wish these matches got televised. I don't even think they're in like records or anything. That's how like buried away they got.
So Apollo, from
TNA Apollo.
El Gran Apollo, yeah.
Yeah, and when Apollo finally got his hands on him, because he was like he was running away, like, I'm too fast for you. I'm too fast. You can't get me. Come on, big guy. And he finally got him. Crowd went nuts. It was so satisfying. Even I popped, and I was just watching from the ring side. And I was like, yeah! Oh, right. Gotta be professional. Can't take sides.
Fighting spirit, big drop kick there from Ashley Vox. One of Rocky Romero's big accomplishments last year was he was the first ever Talkin' Shop-A-Mania 24/7 champion in his Chico El Luchador gimmick.
You know, talk about a promotion that loves to take the piss out of wrestling.
Well, he won the title in a socially distanced battle royal.
Yes, that's right.
Before losing the title that same night to Chavo Guerrero. So yeah, he's a big deal in New Japan as a member of Chaos, former Forever Hooligan, former Black Tiger. Actually, his highest appearance on the PWI 500 was his first appearance back in 2002 when he debuted at number 11. That was during his kind of his peak as Black Tiger 4 in Japan before he unmasked and went with the role that we all know and love today.
And he's been a fantastic manager as well, bringing in Roppongi 3K, the former Roppongi 3K before Sho and Yo went their separate ways.
Yeah. If you look at Rocky's cage match page where it lists his trainers, he has such a diverse skill set because he was trained by Antonio Inoki, Bill Anderson, Jesse Hernandez, Kevin Quinn, Negro Casas, and Togi Makabe.
God,
that's pretty much ticking every box along the way.
It's like, how do you make a perfect wrestler? You get these guys to train you.
Yes. Yeah, any one of those on their own, like, oh yeah, he's gonna come out great. And he picks up the win, pinning Ashley Vox with that
showing off that New Japan training.
It's a bummer that the audio is not coming through because his music is playing. Like, his actual.
Yes, because Rocky is one of the official.
It's an in-game model for Rocky Romero. Rolling pinfall is what they're calling it in the finish screen here. But Rocky Romero advances to the second round. After the main event, I will go through who everyone is facing in the second round. But unfortunately, the tournament is over for Poseidon's Siren, Ashley Fox.
I have always been a mark for a good nickname that you can ring announce, having done it in the past. I think everybody's favorite wrestler has been used a couple of times. I know that I've heard that. That's always been fun. God, I'm trying to think of my favorite nickname. It's kind of tough. Oh God, now I can't. Do you have do you have a favorite gimmick nickname that has been used?
There are a lot of really good ones on the indies right now that while I've been doing research for
We've had so many matches on this tournament alone.
Yeah. My favorite recent one that's sticking out in my mind is Dylan McQueen, kind of playing off what you were saying about your favorite wrestler, his being your dad's favorite wrestler.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I like that one a lot. Poseidon Siren is pretty great.
Poseidon Siren. Oh.
God's Chosen Champion.
Oh, yeah.
Romero was great.
That's gonna bug me. If you have a favorite wrestler tag team or a wrestler nickname or tag team name, tweet us. PW Simulated.
Yeah, and we're not counting Macho Man. Or
no. We're talking about gimmick fun
Kid.
Nicknames. Yeah. Like something that you would hear in the ring announcer kind of make them say. Yes. I will say this. For the discrepancies personally that I may have with Jay Lethal, still all that stuff aside, when Justin when Justin Roberts says that Jay Lethal is from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I do get a kick out of that. Yeah. It's one of those weird things where it's not to get into this whole discussion again, but you get carnied in because at the end of the day, a great wrestler is still a great carny because they can just sucker you into enjoying the stuff, even if maybe you have opinions about them.
Yeah.
But here we go with
an excellent example of that.
Yeah, Undertaker's got plenty of problems.
I'm not going to use the H word, but I have a strong dislike for Mark Calloway. His politics. An argument could be made he has done more harm than good for the wrestling industry.
But the character of The Undertaker is iconic. There's no question.
Absolutely. I respect what he's done as a performer in the ring, even if I don't like him.
The person, yeah.
Yes.
But look at this. Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii, is on our stream right now. Pops up. Yeah. He's going to be facing Big Damo at Mutiny for New Japan of America, the Vermont Hollywood. Today.
Is that on?
I just saw it. I think it will be. Usually, those matches are available day after on New Japan World. And I think. Oh, didn't AEW just say that they were going to be putting up New Japan matches up on, or rather,
AEW matches on New Japan World.
On New Japan World, yeah.
New episodes of Dynamite and Rampage will be available.
That's a big deal
on New Japan World, which I'm really hoping means that they're eventually leading to pay-per-views being on New Japan World as well.
And if that's the case, and the whole thing with possibly them getting their own hub on HBO Max, if they have access to the New Japan library, oh brother,
yeah, it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. In many regards. And one place where wrestling has seen kind of a resurgence over the last year or so is Australia. We've seen a lot of Aussie wrestlers over the last few weeks, because apparently there's not a huge group of people making edits of Australian wrestlers. So I've had to make many of them. But a lot of them made the 500 this year. Charlie Evans is one of them, the violence artist from Central Coast, New South Wales. Just a brawler, a hardcore wrestler, which is a big thing in Australia. They definitely got a death match, hardcore style. Why can I not think of the word I'm looking for? Scene is what I'm looking for. Scene, and she is a major player in that. First time on the PWI 500, was the Pro Wrestling Eve Tag Team Champion with Millie McKenzie. And she that was through the entire evaluation period for the PWI 500. She's also the Insurgents and Good Wrestling Grand Prize champion through that entire time. And she has also been the Pro Wrestling Subjective Women's Champion since 2018. You will see her throwing a lot of kind of lariats, spine busters. She's just a brawler. She's just gonna beat the hell out of you, which makes her a pretty good matchup for Ishii. Ishii at 5'7", 220 rarely is the big man in a match, but Charlie's 5'2", 106. So Ishii gets to play the giant a little bit in this one.
Here's my dream Ishii match for North American. Tomohiro Ishii versus Mira.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
I knew you would.
I very much look forward to that if that ever happens.
Please, TK, make it happen. You know what I do like about his booking lately with new talents is that he is getting his money's worth now with who he has, instead of worrying too much of, well, I gotta build. It's like, if you've got Samoa Joe at this point in Samoa Joe's career, you gotta use him now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good realization, because I don't know how many years Joe has left. He's gone through a lot, and he's been through the ringer. Give it don't worry about wasting these dream matches, because you have no idea how long he can still do these matches.
Yeah. Same with Punk and Danielson and Moxley.
Yeah, give me those matches, because it's great that they're here. I'm going to enjoy the time that they're here, and I know that they're going to put over the talent that they are facing, and it's going to make me want to see those guys fight more. Yep. But I'm just going to be happy that I had those matches done in the time that I see them.
Yeah, I got to see Joe versus Suzuki and Moxley versus Yuta, Moxley versus Danielson.
Yeah. Danielson versus Omega. It just you could have had that be a year-long build, and it would have been an amazing payoff.
Yeah.
But why? It's there, and they did it, and that's what you kind of have to do with these talents. And people are like, "Oh, the talent roster's so stuffed." I'm like, okay, there is a case for that, but also think of the matches that we're getting, and how many eyes it's putting on this product, and how many people are going to benefit from that.
Yeah. And
then you're going to end up getting a longer lasting show with the fresh talent. WCW did this. They got Hogan, and they put him against Flair immediately.
Yep.
Because that's the match people wanted to see.
Yep.
And it happened.
For all their faults, TNA did the same thing when they got Joe. They put him right in there with Angle.
Yeah. Because that's the match we wanted to see.
Yep.
And granted, Kurt Angle is literally I don't want to use the literally in the figurative sense, but he is practically a machine. There's a reason he called himself the Wrestling Machine. The man can go forever and ever until he was broken, in which he did break eventually.
Yeah. Well, and that's partly how he ended up in TNA to begin with.
Yeah.
WWE thought he was done.
He got himself in better shape. He cleaned up. And then at one point he was like scary thin. There was some points where I was just like, what is going on, Kurt?
Big lariat out of the corner from Charlie Evans. 1, 2, 3.
Holy cow!
Charlie Evans pulling off the upset in the main event.
That was strong. That was a Stan Hansen lariat.
Yeah.
Right in the center of the ring. You want to talk about a Japan finish. Right there. You can't get better than that.
What are they calling that? That's
got to be a lariat.
Stomping
lariat. Nice.
That's a very Japanese name for a move. 291. Charlie Evans picks up the win. Only our third upset of the day.
I love Ishii's Twitter handle. Brimful of stone. God, it sounds like a Steven Seagal movie.
It does, doesn't it?
By the way, you ever play the Steven Seagal movie title generator game? All you have to do is think just like the way they did. Steven Seagal is, and then you put the words together. Like, hard to kill. Steven Seagal is something. Under siege. Like, that's all you have to do. Because it was the same thing every time.
That's funny. I like that a lot. Okay, so we have one show left in round 1.
Holy cow.
Next week's show.
Remember when we thought, how are we ever going to do this?
You're almost halfway through.
We're almost halfway there.
And now we know 10 more matches that are going to happen in round 2.
We should try to get somebody from PWI onto our show.
That would be
awesome. Talk about the PWI 500. Because I would love to know like the whole process, get a little insider in on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm going to work on that.
Do it. So based on today's results, we now know Charlie Evans, the winner of our main event, will face Big Calyx in round 2. Rocky Romero will take on Hiroshi Tanahashi in round 2. Marius Al-Ani will take on Arrow Boy. Calvin Tankman will face Mickey Knuckles. Penta Oscuro will face frontman Ja C. Young Miles will take on Retro AG Anthony Green. Oh man, I am looking forward to Kofi Kingston against Dante Martin.
Oh dude, I want that match for real.
That is going to be insane. Dmitry Alexandrov will take on Ethan Allen. El Hijo del Vikingo will face MVP. And Darby Allin will take on the chairman, Shawn Spears.
In a rematch, I believe, then.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, what a show. This has been
today.
This has been surprising wins, some great victories, hard-hitting matches. And there's only so much. It's just getting better and better as each week goes on. And
this is the first round.
This is only the first freaking round, folks. And if you've been sticking with us from the beginning, you know we have gone through it with this roster.
There are still, there's the 20 wrestlers we'll see next week, but there are still the top 12 seeds we haven't seen yet.
No.
We haven't seen Kenny Omega or Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre or Cody or any of the, those first round buys to those top 12 seeds. There's a lot of really good stuff still to come.
Absolutely. Well, I am excited for what's to come, and I know that if you are fans here of the PW Simulated... Well, we need a name for the fan base. I can't... Simheads. No, that's weird.
The Sims.
The Sims. We'll workshop it. You can follow us online at PW Simulated. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We haven't done much on Instagram, but we will try and fix that.
It's hard to do.
Here's
Instagram
the thing
for stuff like this.
Yeah, because most of the time that would probably be clips, and clips of our show is just kind of like, the match.
Yeah.
And if you want to just watch the match, you just go to the replay when it's on our YouTube channel.
Go to YouTube or go to
But yeah, maybe we'll post like pro wrestling memes on there or something. I don't know. Yeah. That always gets hits.
Maybe we could come up with some. Well, now this is just me putting extra work on you, but like
to make graphics for the matches that are coming up.
Yeah, match graphics.
I could do that. I could and I should.
I mean, that's my bag. That's like what I love to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to, of course, find out when all our episodes are, you simply have to follow us here on Twitch, or you can like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We stream on 3 platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. So you have no excuse as to where to find us, because it's all Pro Wrestling Simulated. That's all you got to look up. Hashtag the 500. And if you don't, we will send Danhausen after you to be cursed. Unless you're Hook, where you are uncursable.
I think the power's in the chips.
It might be in the chips. That I am starting to come around to that. I was like, okay, they found a way to make Danhausen like work in AEW's world.
Yeah.
And the perfect opponent is to have a guy who no-sells it.
Who absolutely no-sells it. Yeah. Yeah, it's
because Hook versus Danhausen might be Danhausen's first match, if you think about this.
I believe it will be, and I think Hook is going to beat him in like 9 seconds.
Or just like he gives him the runaround, and like he attempts, like, I would love to see, like, it's one of those things where it's like Hook thinks he can beat them. Danhausen just frustrates him with his shenanigans, and is just like, oh, God, can we just wrestle? Like take the model of a Orange Cassidy match, where this guy is the people just like, what are you doing? Why aren't you normal? And then
he's gonna try.
Yeah,
he's gonna try.
And then you put it to Hook, where it's just like, Hook's just gonna murder you.
Yeah.
And then eventually, just I like it's Danhausen could be that weird like Snidely Whiplash heel, where he's not necessarily a bad guy, but he is trying to foil someone.
Yeah.
In like the dumbest ways possible. And Hook is the anti-Dudley Do-Right, where it's not like he's dumb and he wins. He just murders you.
Yeah. It's like Snidely Whiplash against the Punisher.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
That's basically what that feud is.
Can't tie someone to train tracks if you're full of holes from an AK-47.
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been a great episode, and we, of course, will see you next week. But what do we have lined up for next week?
Next week, in the season finale of Round 1?
I guess? Or just the Round 1 finale?
It's the Round 1 finale. It's the 24th of 24 shows in Round 1.
We may actually take a week break just from between rounds, just so we could set up for Round 2s.
Yeah.
Because I've got new graphics that I want to try out. We've got some new ways of streaming that we might do, where if we're not multi-streaming because of OBS's inability, taking one sacrifice for another might come into play. But don't worry, we'll still provide.
We'll figure it out.
Make sure we give you what you want to see.
Yes.
Or we just might keep it like this and just have fun with it.
I mean, this has worked well.
This has worked well. If it ain't broke.
That's right. Okay, so next week, the aforementioned Adam Scher, the Titan.
Yes.
Will be taking on Donnie Kung Fu Janela.
He's so based, by the way.
Yes. Hey, what did you say? Based on your mom.
Based on your mom's back. Like, that's specific.
Very specific. Laney Luck will be against Trevor Aeon. Miro, who we were just talking about, will take on Vinny Pacifico. El Desperado will take on Jessica Troy.
That's a gangster name. Vinny Pacifico, that is so much better than Tony D'Angelo as a gangster name.
Yeah, Vinny Pacifico is a great name. TJP will take on Shay McCoy. Jeff Cobb against Jordan Cruz.
Love the
Eddie
Jeff Cobb
Kingston, the King, will be against Camaro Jackson. Killian McMurphy will take on Valiente. Johnny Wrestling.
Famous actor, Killian Murphy? Oh, no, that's Killian Murphy. Sorry.
This is Killian McMurphy. This is his Irish cousin. Johnny Gargano will take on Freddie Hudson. And Alex Colon will take on Kez Evans.
Very cool.
And those are the last 10 matches of the first round.
Awesome. I mean, we've had a spoil of riches, as they say, when it comes to our show. And I think that with just across the board, one of the things I love about this is all the new talent that I'm discovering.
And that's really one of the things that I hope the show accomplishes, is we get people to see new talent and look into their matches and find the promotions that they're wrestling in.
Yeah, and it's fun because then sometimes we'll see some of them pop up like on AEW Dark or whatever.
Yeah,
like
you never know.
Willow Nightingale showed up. When Willow Nightingale showed up on Rampage,
that was so great.
It's like, oh, Willow Nightingale, I love her. I've been watching her matches to get ready for the 500, and to see her on national TV, it was like, oh, yay, Willow is she's right there. She's just about made it.
Yeah, I was a big fan of her match, and I was really like surprised. I didn't know where the heel turn came from, other than maybe people just liking Willow more than Red Velvet, which, to be honest, like, I get it. Willow's awesome. Give me Willow versus Jade now too. Like, I want all these matches early, but it's like I know they have to get that build.
Right. Well, and that's also not the first time that's happened to Red Velvet.
That's true.
It happened in Chicago, the weekend of All Out. I was there, and we turned on Red Velvet during her match against Sky Blue.
She does feel like a natural heel.
Was just so, you put her in there with a more popular babyface, and she's gonna get booed. Yeah. And Willow Nightingale is just so flippin' charming.
Oh yeah,
she's delightful on the mic, in the ring. How do you not love Willow Nightingale?
Her Ring of Honor match was against Mercedes Martinez was so good.
Yes, indeed.
And what caught me was just that promo package that she did, where she tried her hardest to make a rhyme, and it was just so endearing. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I am all for you. I love Mercedes Martinez. You know, I've seen her from the Jersey Indie wrestling days, and just seeing the exposure gradually just get better and better. But man, Willow Nightingale, more of her, please.
Yes.
That is a great addition to the women's roster that you can absolutely build.
Yep. She's not a star in the making. She's a star.
Oh, for sure.
She's already there. You just need to put the machine behind her.
For sure. And please do, because that is a great machine that can be used.
See also Yuta, Wheeler.
And Wardlow.
And Wardlow, yeah.
When you have a crowd immediately ready to chant your name a la Goldberg, I mean...
Yes.
Come on. And Hook, and like... again, just... Everyone's like, oh, they rely too much on outside talent. I'm like, you have no... You guys are going to be... You cheer for these people that you don't realize are the talent of AEW.
Yeah.
They're relying on they're relying on homegrown talent to build their show. They are relying on the ex-WWE guys, if you will, or higher profile indie guys to bring eyes to the product.
Yes.
But also, it's not like the
for the Ricky Starks.
It's not like ex-WWE guys that get released recently are old. It's not like the WCW model where it's just like the legends are all wrestling under one tent.
Yeah.
Keith Lee barely had a chance to show what he could do. And now he's pouncing Will Hobbs through a wall.
Well, I mean, look at Cody. He went from being like the grizzled old veteran of AEW to one of the younger guys in the main event scene in WWE.
He's got the Flair treatment from... I say this legitimately because I have not seen a wrestler go from one company to another with no change, probably since Ric Flair in '92.
Yeah, well, and even that, there were still changes to Flair. Like, he was
the real world's champion, he was still Ric Flair.
He was still Ric Flair. He was never in the suits, though. He never
No. He was
just always in his robe. But that was because that was how WWF was at the time. But
he was still Flair. He was
still Flair.
He was still Ric Flair. Like, you can't take that. I mean, yes, at one point he was almost the $1 Million Man. But, like, they realized, no, the money is in Flair. The money is in the banana stand.
That's right. There's always money.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Was it Funk that called Flair a banana nose prick before one of their matches?
There's always money in the banana nose prick.
There's always money in the banana nose prick.
Pencil neck geek is another one of my favorite insults.
Yes.
And you can tell us your favorite wrestling insult on our socials. And where else can they find us online? Well, Pat, you mentioned your video game stream.
We are back. My weekly podcast, Kings of Consoles. We just released our first new episode in 4 months last Thursday, where we compared Super Mario Bros. 2 and River City Ransom. Only one game can advance to the round of 16, and it may not be the one you think. And there will be a new episode in the next couple of days.
That sounds like a clickbait article title.
Where we will take a look at the number 1 overall seed in our tournament, Super Mario Bros. 3, against Batman, the video game, the licensed tie-in to the 1989 movie, which has nothing to do with the 1989 movie.
Nothing at all. It is in cover alone and in opening title graphics.
And between cut scenes, where it's just a still photo of Jack Nicholson with text underneath it. And then you go on and fight KG Beast or Firefly or Killer Moth. People who are not in the movie at all.
Not until Batman vs Superman and the upcoming Batgirl film have they ever been in anything.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I guess probably their biggest exposure at this point is probably Lego Batman.
Oh God! And the Lego games are amazing.
Yes.
Have you seen the Skywalker Saga?
Holy crap! It for Christmas 2 years ago.
The game is amazing.
but because it was a Christmas present 2 years ago, back when it was supposed to come out.
Right.
It was shipped to my parents' house in Indiana because we were there for Christmas. I got a text from my mom on Tuesday or Wednesday, Merry Christmas 2020. We'll get this in the mail. And it was a picture of our copy of Skywalker Saga. So that might actually be... No, it's Sunday. There won't be mail today. I bet I'll get it tomorrow.
Eventually.
I'm so excited. I love the Lego games, and the Lego Star Wars games are the best Lego games. And
the interactions between characters have been by far the best part about it, just because of the fun inside jokes and the amazing impressions for a lot of them. The guy who does Han Solo sounds like Harrison Ford.
Oh, nice.
Legit. Same for the guy who does Kylo Ren. Sounds like Adam Driver.
Nice.
For
the prequel characters, are they using the Clone Wars voice actors?
Yes, they are.
That's awesome.
So D. Bradley Baker's in there, and so is James Arnold Taylor, and the guy who voiced Anakin, whose name I can't remember, but fantastic.
I can picture him.
Yeah, because we've met him at Star Wars weekends, but we have not. If not, I can't remember his name, and I feel so bad.
I guess, rugged, square-jawed looking dude.
Great looking guy. Could have been Anakin in the live-action series if you wanted to.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
God, it's gonna bug me. We're gonna message someone at the middle of the day.
Yep, absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing new episodes of that. Speaking of new episodes, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I've got a brand new episode of the Wayfinders Guild, Chapter 6, showing up, or 7, or rather, a new chapter of Book 1 of our series. We actually just recorded the first half of the last couple of episodes that we're setting up for this book, and it was my first time going into kind of a horror dungeon crawl, and I had a lot of fun scaring my players. So eventually when we get to that point, there are going to be more interesting encounters, fights, and I am going to give you my wrestling recommendation of the week to close it out. I think that's a fun way to close it.
Yeah.
Of course, rewatch Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley. If you have a stomach for goat blood, you can watch this. But I would also say, if you want a more obscure match to kind of check out, recently I have been going down the rabbit hole of comedy spots, and there is a YouTube channel. Oh, I'm gonna be terrible at that, but I'll plug it later on social media. There's a YouTube channel that highlights some of the best comedy wrestling spots. No surprise, DDT is on there a lot.
Of course.
But
they had a panda in a battle royal.
But that's what I was going to bring up, is the fact that I think GCW's Invisible Man versus the It was two Invisible Men match.
I think it was two Invisible Men.
Yeah,
but there was a different name for the second.
There was two different names. Yeah, Bryce Remsburg basically following the crowd the whole match, being able to guide them through a masterpiece
the on the fly.
A masterpiece to the point where there is a balcony spot. And Bryce Remsburg, he is my favorite. Yes, that is his real name, Jim Ross. I've watched one of my favorite spots is an old Chikara match where he is telling wrestlers repeatedly, "Stop diving over the top rope! Stop diving over the top rope!"
And they just keep going.
They just keep going over his head, around him, until eventually they're all on the outside. He gets up on the top, crossbody dives on all of them, rolls back into the ring. One.
Absolutely.
Best
brilliant.
pop.
I love that moment.
Bryce Remsburg is my pick of Wrestler of the Week. Inadvertent Wrestler of the Week.
Jeez, I guess.
Any picks for you in terms of pick of the week for Pat? Pat's pick of the week. Pat's picks.
Pick of the week. I mean, it's hard to, for new. Yeah, you gotta watch Mox and Yuta again. If you watched it already, watch it again.
Watch it again.
Watched it.
Just understand how that crowd had been dead after the tag team match. Understandably. And it slowly picked up match by match. Granted, yes, there is some crowd feeding noise in that first, up until that main event, which I'm pretty sure was not fed with noise at all. Great choice to do that. God, what a turnaround.
Gosh. Okay. Well, talking about comedy wrestling, this match is not good, but it has one of my favorite comedy
good start.
I preface this by saying. But it does have one of my favorite comedy spots of all time. Survivor Series 1993, I believe. Might have been 94. Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink against Jerry Lawler
and his minis.
Queasy, and Greasy, maybe?
Yeah.
There is a spot where Dink climbs up on Doink's shoulders to box Lawler. So Lawler tags in one of his little person tag team partners, who then climbs up onto the middle turnbuckle like he's ready to climb onto Lawler's shoulders. Lawler waves him off, like, "No, I'm getting on your shoulders." And so the little guy is holding Jerry Lawler on his shoulders while he chicken fights Dink. It's not a good match, but that one spot alone, Jerry Lawler in 1993 should have won the world title. I know that's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
But
all considering,
he should have beat Bret, and just by heel chicanery.
Even if it was just a brief run for a month.
I think Lawler should have been what Bob Backlund was in 94.
You know what? I was just going to say that.
Lawler should have been the one to beat Bret and then drop it to Diesel.
Yeah.
An argument could be made for Owen, but I think Owen would have been really damaged by losing it that quickly. Lawler could get his heat back instantly with a single promo the next night on Raw.
Yeah.
I think Lawler, as great as he was, the SummerSlam 93 when he comes out on the crutches after getting in a car accident with a blue-haired old lady and getting Doink to replace him in his match against Bret, the Kiss My Foot match. Lawler was so great back then.
Great wrestling is everywhere where you can find it, and it's not just the two main companies.
Nope.
So keep your eyes open, because again, that's what this tournament is trying to do, is showcase great wrestling, even if it is simulated. Then again, isn't pro wrestling a simulated sport?
It's all a work. Ours is just digital.
It's all a work. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will catch you next time, of course. I've been Mike.
I'm still Pat.
And we will see you next time inside our simulated ring.